up, Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Mr. Vice President, I'm going off script again, I know, but I just want to personally thank you. We've been through some stuff. We've gone through some of the most complex military operations this country's ever conducted, and your steady hand and your leadership during those was a great source of strength for me. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your character. Thank you for your selfless service. Thank you for commitment. Thank you for being a mentor to me, Mr. Vice President.
It's called the swamp. And you know what happened? And you know what I did? A big favor. I caught the swamp. I caught them all. Let's see what happens. Nobody else could have done that but me. I caught all of this corruption that was going on, and nobody else could have done it. Did I get that one right? Every 4 years, we gather on these steps to carry out the orderly and peaceful transfer of power. Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning, because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government, while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
This is a president of the United States who is a danger to the republic.
America first.
He knows he's an illegitimate president.
The oath of office I take today is an oath of allegiance to all Americans.
The great Trump recovery.
America will never be a socialist country. I will fight for you with every breath in my body.
Russia, Russian, pro-Russian, Russian, the Russians.
Russia.
And I will never, ever let you down.
A dangerous virus is spreading rapidly in China, and U.S. officials are very worried that it could come here.
This is really the worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this.
The time for empty talk is over. Now arrives the hour of action. What they're doing is using COVID to steal an election. Together, we will make America strong again. You know what it's about? Fraud, fake ballots. We will make America wealthy again. They are trying to steal the election.
Now, under the leadership of President Trump, we are fully realizing President Kennedy's prescient view of Special Operations Forces.
We will make America proud again. And watch, please, those mail-in ballots. We will make America safe again. And in millions and millions of ballots, their vote is under what they thought they needed. They're dumping more ballots in there, okay? And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you. If we are right about the fraud, Joe Biden can't be president.
Congress, the chair declares the joint session dissolved.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of the Devolution Power Hour. How are my co-hosts doing this evening?
I am having a great old time in Beaumont, Texas, where it smells very natural out here, and I
could be that butthole on the wall behind you.
Yeah, there is a very anoid presence or a anoid fixture of some kind. It's in the hotel room. I had no control over it, but this will be the second instance of something vaguely anatomical in my background. So enjoy, Badlanders.
That's like Michelle Obama butthole too.
Ooh. No. Michelle Obama's butthole is not prolapsed in any way. It is untouched.
So to be Barack's then.
She's a giver, is what I'm told by the powers that be.
Oh man, Chris, you were about to say something, I'm sure.
I was kind of disappointed in myself because I think that I was the one who said we shouldn't talk about how it's a butthole. And then as soon as Patrick said that smell thing, I couldn't resist.
Yeah, how could you? He kind of set you up for it.
Yeah, so we've ruined the show already.
Should we start over? Can we just do the whole intro again and start over?
More times that Phil Scarborough's brilliant work gets played, I think the better.
I'm just kidding. We won't do that to you guys. I know 1 7-minute intro video is enough but we got plenty to talk about. So we hopefully will make up for the butthole jokes at the beginning. Elon Musk, sorry, not Elon Musk. Well, I mean, there's some interesting news around him too, but Trump went on Rogan yesterday and the whole thing is fascinating. We did some live commentary last night in the Liberty Den, but we're going to hit some of the key things. At least for me, it was the election related stuff that I really keyed in on. Lots of interesting things. But that stuff to me was the biggest. I want to talk about that. We can maybe even talk about some of the Comey stuff too. We're also going to talk, speaking of Elon Musk, his connection to Russia that came out, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? That's definitely notable. We're going to have a little discussion about voting early versus same day voting, why the switch from 2020, whether Chris Paul is going to vote at all. Maybe we'll even get that far into it. And we're going to piss everybody off with that talk, but I think it'll be a productive conversation, as they always are. What else? Oh, the media melting down right now because the Washington Post didn't endorse Kamala Harris. So we'll get into it all. But Patrick, before we do, we got to get a word from our sponsors real quick.
You're darn skippy, my friend. And the first one that I want to talk about is EasyRx. Because our partners at EasyRx want to help you in this time of need. With government failures and devastation running rampant, it's never been a better time to stockpile popular medications like amoxicillin, azithromycin, aka Z-Pak, ivermectin, fenbendazole, hydroxychloroquine, and other care medications. EasyRx wants to help you like this in a time such as this. For a limited time, Badlanders will receive 25% off. It's a quarter off purchases over $100 using promo code Black Friday. Rest assured that you and your loved ones are ready for anything with EasyRx. Go to badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx and use promo code Black Friday for 25% off purchases over $100. Stock up on antibiotics, other necessary medications to keep you and your family healthy. That's badlandsmedia.tv/EasyRx. And use promo code Black Friday for great savings.
Awesome. Thank you, EasyRx. And we also got a quick word from our friends at CB Distillery.
Let me guess. Your medicine cabinet is crammed with stuff that doesn't work. You still aren't sleeping, you still hurt, and you're stressed out. That's how it was for me. So I cleared out my cabinet and reset my health with CBD from CB Distillery. It's been a real change. CB Distillery's targeted formulations are made from the highest quality, clean ingredients, no fluff, no fillers, just pure, effective CBD solutions designed to help support your health. In 2 non-clinical surveys, 81% of customers experienced more calm. 80% said CBD helped with pain after physical activity, and an impressive 90% said they slept better with CBD. If you struggle with a health concern and haven't found relief, make the change like I did to CB Distillery. And with over 2 million customers and a solid 100% money-back guarantee, CB Distillery is the source to trust.
Awesome. All right, guys. Let's start with the media.
John, I need to scroll more. I apologize. I have a 20% discount to get you started. Visit cbdistillery.com and use code JOHN, Jon, for 20% off. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code JOHN. Don't forget the promo code JON. Sorry about that, guys. I spaced.
No worries. I want to start with the media meltdown story over this this Kamala endorsement, or that did not happen. Guys, it was such a big deal that Brian Stelter decided to put out a Saturday edition of Reliable Sources. Just unprecedented. But this is such a serious concern that he had to do that.
Just so I can make sure I understand this. It's because the Washington Post said, yeah, we're not going to endorse this time.
Yeah, well, how about we just read his article a little bit and you'll get a perfect breakdown.
Okay. Reliable Sources, Brian Stelter. A chill in the air. Let's get this part out of the way first. Newspaper endorsements normally don't matter much. If the Washington Post had gone ahead with its expected endorsement of VP Kamala Harris, we wouldn't be sending out a special Saturday edition. A billionaire newspaper owner overruling his editors and deciding not to endorse Harris in a possible bid to appease Donald Trump, that does matter. Owner Jeff Bezos is remaining silent, but many others are speaking out. The Post is in a state of absolute turmoil. In the last 24 hours, at least one editor has resigned, and high-profile Post staffers have publicly expressed their dismay. Hadas Gold reports in this brand new CNN.com story. Why so much fallout? Because so many of the fears, anxieties, and hopes about the presidential election are encapsulated in this non-endorsement imbroglio. The fears are obvious. If we want to know how Trump is going to stifle the free press in the U.S., this is the answer. Bob effing Kagan told Aaron Burnett last night. Kagan, a columnist at the Post for decades, resigned in protest yesterday. This is how it's going to happen, Kagan said, especially when the media is owned by corporate titans. The balls on this guy to say that. Who have a lot to lose if Trump is angry at them. He called Bezos' action a warning about the near future, a sort of anticipatory capitulation on the part of a major media organization.
Well, hey, isn't this guy Kagan Victoria Nuland's husband?
Yes. He was also Bill Kristol's partner in starting the Project for a New American Century, and he is now at the Brookings Institution, where he is a colleague of Norm Eisen, the author of not only the Color Revolution playbook, but also all of the white papers that the J6 committee report was based on, and that all the Trump indictments were based on.
This guy is the public-facing mouthpiece for the people who rule the world.
That's a good way to put it.
He arrived in his position because he does these things unquestionably and says these things unquestionably.
But yeah, so he resigned from the Washington Post. Let's go. This article is not that long. Let's just read a little bit more.
I think it's crucial to see the other side of the story as well. The sense of satisfaction from Trump loyalists. This is what they want. For Trump's critics to cave, for billionaires to be intimidated, for Trump to break the backs of institutions like the Washington Post. Breitbart's article about the Post filled up with celebratory comments. National Review's Jeffrey Blahar mocked the media's garment-rending peals of agony over the move. Bottom line, no one is buying Post publisher William Lewis's explanation that, quote, we are returning to our roots of not endorsing presidential candidates, especially in light of the New York Times' report that, quote, Lewis and the Opinion's editor David Shipley made their case to Bezos not to end the Post's tradition of making a presidential endorsement. When Bezos nixed the endorsement anyway, without ever reading the Harris draft, Lewis was left to explain it to the public according to the New York Times.
We can probably.
I love how they're referring, like, go check with the paper that did endorse Kamala. They'll tell you.
It's insane.
That's wild.
Like why this the Washington Post has never written a pro-Trump article in the last 4 years, have they? Like, does anybody care? Or none of the readers at this point are Trump supporters.
It's not what this is about.
It's just hilarious that they are freaking the F out that they won't say. Well, let's hear it.
They're freaking out because all of a sudden, the massive establishment blob that they have counted on to protect them from accountability is showing signs of pulling the rug out from under them. The Washington fucking Post, dude, that's the basement of the foundation of their establishment. And Brian Stelter, who probably gets fed, all sorts of, sex slaves or whatever it is they do to appease a third-rate, pasty little demon like him. And he knows that if this establishment, if this apparatus collapses around him, all that's left is accountability for him. That's why I'm excited watching the people rending their garments about stupid shit like the Washington Post not endorsing. It's not that he thinks that Washington Post not endorsing is going to hurt Kamala's chances of winning. It's that he realizes, holy crap, my protectors are taking a powder.
I think to them, the reason they won in 2020 was because they were able to get away with that narrative that Trump had or Biden had all the support and all these things, and not enough people cared, right? But they've lost a good chunk of the people that are supposed to be supporting Kamala, like the Washington Post. Like this, it's an interesting thing. But the media's reaction is what is most interesting. I looked at his timeline, and I could only find 4 total posts talking about Trump's assassination, and 2 of them came within like the day of and the day after. And one of them was like Fox News headline about Trump assassination. Like it wasn't even about the story. It was about Fox News's byline about the assassination. You go through his timeline now, like the last 4 days is nothing but Washington Post not endorsing Kamala meltdown. Like that's it. It's insanity.
I think there's actually something maybe a lot bigger going on. So the Los Angeles Times didn't endorse either. Apparently that editor offered the owner of the paper suggested to the editorial board that what they do is analyze the policies of each candidate in a positive and negative, show both sides of each one of the policies for each candidate, and let that be representative of what their endorsements are. And they declined that opportunity, which is weird because they can just say, well, here's Kamala Harris's agenda. It's the UN 2030 agenda. It's the World Economic Forum agenda. Donald Trump's agenda is the opposite of that. Then you go to the Washington Post. They're not going to put out an endorsement at all. And I think you have to take all this in the context of how Trump has interacted when it comes to the debates, particularly the debate rules with Joe Biden and what he said he expected from the media at CNN. The heat he's been putting on CBS for having released an edited version of some of that Kamala interview. It seems like he is gearing the media effort toward this space that requires the kind of equal time and objectivity we were told we could expect from media many decades ago. So doing these endorsements in that environment where he is claiming that there is election interference going on makes a lot of sense to me. And then, I also have to at least allow for some possibility that Jeff Bezos is following the Elon Musk model, and that they are all just realizing for the first time, as they did when Elon announced he was buying Twitter, that there's actually something much bigger going on here. And they may have lost one of their key assets in media and might be realizing that Bezos, who they thought was one of their most important friends, might not be. John, I don't know if you want to put this up. Oh, I think I can do it. So Patriots in Control put this together yesterday, but look at these headlines and even the sub headlines. I'm not so sure about this. The one there in the bottom right corner, that's a little ambiguous, but the rest of them are just overtly anti-Kamala from a paper you would never expect to be anti-Kamala. So
yeah, that is interesting. That is very interesting because they've never been pro-Trump or even anti, whoever the candidate is, Harris, Biden, whatever it is. That is, man, something weird is going on. I don't get it.
I have a really out there conspiracy theory as well. And this is a legacy conspiracy theory from 2020 that really just hit on multiple levels over the last couple of days. So Grassley has the corn thing, right? He always does corn posts on Twitter and has for years and talks about the harvest. The other day, he showed a picture of this like cornfield that had just been completely run through. And he says that the harvest is complete. And then this Bezos stuff happens. And Bezos, the ranch in West Texas, where he launches his Blue Origin rockets from, is called Corn Ranch. And I've always just had those things connected in my mind. And it fits in almost exactly with my ideas about drainage and what I saw to be Amazon's role in election interference in the 2020 election. So there it is.
What do you think the role in 2020 was?
Well, we definitely saw Amazon Web Services shut down Parler, and that was a major move in the wake of the very violent insurrection leading up to the fake inauguration. So there's something there. Amazon Web Services controls and middlemans a lot of the content on the web. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if there was something related to that big cloud in the sky where absolutely all of every kind of our data goes. And then we were talking, I don't know, many months ago, 3, 4, 5 months ago, John. Well, this will be interesting. We should go through this. But there's also a major tech thing, a deal between the Trump administration and Amazon, I think in like 2018, that there was some freak out over. And so maybe it makes sense to pull that back up too. There's something much bigger going on with Amazon. They could potentially replace or replace the U.S. Postal Service or be subsumed into the U.S. Postal Service. I could see those things happening. And I'll shut up after this, but one of the things that I have very few hesitations on my optimism about what's happening, but one of them is that we are being dog walked into a world where the PayPal mafia is in control of absolutely everything we do in full partnership with the government. And that situation could get a little hairy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to go through a little bit of this article. Because if you look at what happened with, or what we think happened with Elon, where maybe he was likely a willing participant, at least he's definitely playing the role now. But at the time, it's like, okay, Trump devolved the government. He walked away. Elon Musk, or SpaceX, Starlink, whatever, they're the biggest DoD contractor, like to the tune of billions and billions. It's like $41 billion or something. But maybe the reason he was allowed to buy Twitter is because of some sort of executive order, like a 13818 or a 13848 or something, something that seized or captured the assets, and that's how it was transferred to him. What if there's something similar taking place with the Bezos individual, and the Washington Post, just like the leading edge of that? And maybe we'll find out throughout this article. And are you talking about this whole thing where the DoD picked Amazon as one of the companies to take over the cloud?
That is, yes, I think it's all packed into that. I'm sorry, was off track finding that link. So,
okay. Well, Patrick, let's go through this one first a little bit, because this is from October of 2019. And this might be very in line with what Chris was just talking about.
How Amazon.com moved into the business of U.S. elections by Nandita Bose. It's on Reuters. Amazon.com Inc.'s cloud computing arm is making an aggressive push into one of the most sensitive technology sectors, U.S. elections. The expansion by Amazon Web Services into state and local elections has quietly gathered pace since the 2016 presidential vote. More than 40 states now use one or more of Amazon's election offerings, according to a presentation given by an Amazon executive this year and seen by Reuters. So do America's two main political parties, the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and the U.S. federal body charged with administering and enforcing federal campaign finance laws. While it does not handle voting on election day, AWS, along with a broad network of partners, now runs state and county election websites, stores voter registration rolls and ballot data, facilitates overseas voting by military personnel, and helps provide live election night results according to company documents and interviews.
A little bit more.
In the fullest public picture yet of Amazon's strategic move into U.S. election infrastructure, Reuters reviewed previously unreported company presentations and documents and conducted more than 24 interviews with lawmakers, election administrators, and heads of election security and technology in nearly a dozen states and counties that use Amazon's cloud. Amazon pitches itself as a low-cost provider of secure election technology at a time when local officials and political campaigns are under intense pressure to prevent a repeat of 2016 presidential elections, which saw cyber attacks on voting systems and election infrastructure.
I thought that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's not a
it
thing.
Wasn't possible.
You can't, you know, the weasel words that they used in 2016 and then thereafter about, yes, our election was attacked, but no votes were changed, which they had to say over and over and over again. And so you always had to wonder, why was it that our heroes in the mainstream media were not following up with questions of, well, what did they do? Well, they coached Trump and told him to say crooked Hillary, and so he has to be removed from office. That was the kind of dumb shit that they did say. It was always retarded, but the mainstream media was so powerful that they could be as retarded as they needed to be, and all they had to do was keep using the same buzzwords, and it was enough. I don't think it's enough anymore, but we'll see.
Okay, I got another article here. And this is one you sent over, Chris. We don't have to read through this whole thing, but it's right in tune with what we were talking about. Amazon having anything to do with our elections, especially that article we just read. Also trying to get into the DoD here which is what this article says. But it reminds me of CrowdStrike, who's running EDR services. So Amazon potentially storing all of our election infrastructure stuff on the cloud, and then the one that's protecting Amazon and doing the EDR services for a lot of the same infrastructure around our elections is freaking CrowdStrike, which we've gone over that exhaustively on this show throughout the years. I mean, man, and this is, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but I can't wait to talk about one of Trump's answers later on during the Rogan interview, where he talks about this stuff. And to me, it was like one of the most important answers he gave, even though it was very subtle and almost flippant. But oh man, can we listen to it now?
Yeah. Let's do that clip and then come back. I had a couple of sections marked off in this article, so I can just go through those, John, when we get back. Let's do the video.
Okay, yeah. Let's do this video quick, because this Joe Rogan, now this is the second time Joe has pushed him on election fraud, and the first time he goes through some of the evidence and doesn't quite get there, and then Joe comes back to it, and this is Trump's answer.
2020 election. You say you have all this evidence that it was rigged. Why haven't you put this evidence in a consumable form? And what?
Oh, I did. I have books on it. And by the way, books have been written on it. We have an author named Hemingway, who is a great writer. She wrote a book on it, but many books have been written on it. There are books that are, what's happened is judges don't want to touch it. They would say you don't have standing. They didn't rule on the merits. The merits never got there. The judges didn't have what it took. Turn over an
let's talk about the potential vulnerabilities for election fraud. One of them is mail-in ballots. The other one is if someone can break into voting machines, if someone can hack voting machines. Those are two huge ones.
So Elon Musk, I think he said it publicly. I hope he did, because I wouldn't want to be the one, but he's a really smart guy, and he's a very good guy with computers, right? You'd say he's
one of the smartest people alive.
Anybody that can land that 20-story building and perfect, and boom,
while he's doing Starlink, while he's talking to me, while he owns Twitter,
and then he agrees to Starlink
and tweets 100 times a day.
He's an amazing guy. Right?
Yeah.
He said to me that unless you have paper ballots, it can never be an honest election. That's a big statement.
It's a big statement.
We should go to paper ballots. You know, France did. They went to mail-in voting, and it was all messed up.
What can
the amazing thing with the machines? So we have the machines. They cost 10 times more. Paper ballot would cost 8%. And they make paper ballots, they're all watermarked and everything else. They're very sophisticated. But if you take a look, paper ballots, 8% the cost, and you're done by 9 o'clock in the evening, right? Now we have these sophisticated machine. It goes up to heaven. It goes all over the place and down and around. And they say, we'll need 2 weeks to figure out who the hell won the election.
Do you think that's by design?
Yeah, I do. I think it's very quick. That's my opinion.
You're allowed to have an opinion. What?
So then he moves on to another topic. But that answer right there, they're talking about the machines. They come back to it, says it goes up to heaven, goes all over the place, and then you have to wait 12 days or whatever till you get a result. And then Joe Rogan says, do you think that's by design? Trump says it's very crooked. Yes, I do. I think that's my opinion. Trump's opinion on this is like probably the best opinion you can get on whether our elections and the machines are fraudulent. He was the president of the United States and repeatedly called out the elections of being fraudulent. He had that whole entire Twitter, three posts, right? Where he goes through on December 13th and says that this election is in protest because of the machines. That was one of the things he listed. Trump saying it is his opinion that the machines are fraudulent and crooked. That's like basically confirmation in my eyes.
Yeah. But
it's huge.
People always acted like Donald Trump wasn't the president. Like the things that he said, they weren't the president saying them. And that's always been so crazy. His Twitter is an official statement. He put those statements out as president of the United States of America in a state of emergency after declaring that he's a wartime president. It's crazy.
Totally agree. But nobody ever presses him this far. Like most of the interviews he does, he'll talk about election fraud. He'll talk about the stuff. But Joe Rogan actually pressed him on it and like asked for more. And he finally like kind of had to give an answer about the machines. And it wasn't even that like a sophisticated of an answer, but it was confirmation of a lot of things that we've been talking about where, yeah, they stole this election in 2020. And what does that even mean for this election? Who knows? But Trump knows these machines are fraudulent, right? He knows they're crooked. And I'm trying to pull up that the 3 Twitter posts from 2020 to show you guys what I'm talking about. This one. Patrick, read I want to read these 3 tweets here from Trump.
Swing states that have found massive voter fraud, which is all of them, cannot legally certify these votes as complete and correct without committing a severely punishable crime. Everybody knows that dead people, below age people, illegal immigrants, fake signatures, prisoners, and many others voted illegally. Also, machine glitches, another word for fraud, ballot harvesting, non-resident voters, fake ballots, stuffing the ballot box, votes for pay, roughed up Republican poll watchers, and sometimes even more votes than people voting took place in Detroit, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and elsewhere. In all swing state cases, there are far more votes than are necessary to win the state and the election itself. Therefore, votes cannot be certified. This election is under protest.
It says everything you need to say, like all of those things. None of those things change for this upcoming election. It's all going to be the same. And I personally do not believe in the too big for rig thing, because it was Trump who said it before too at a rally. He's like, when you're putting blank ballots in there, if they have the ability to put in a blank ballot and have it count as a result that they want, they can steal whatever the hell they want by any numbers they want. And that's why I've been so like adamant. Like I do believe it's going to be stolen initially, going to come back around. But yeah, I think Trump confirmed the machine fraud in that Rogan interview, and I thought that was my biggest takeaway from the whole thing.
It's going to be wild, man, because I'm getting it from Conservatoid America. Donald Trump's going to win in a landslide. And I just want to be very clear. Boy, I would love it if that happened. Chris is not with me on wanting that to happen, because we do need to have the elections made whole and transparent. And that needs to happen. And Chris is of the opinion that you have to have them show their true evil for that to happen. And I see there's a lot of logic in that position. So I just want to say, I really hope, but on the other hand, I want to see a Trump landslide. I want the catharsis. I want them to get caught in the act somehow on election day, have it resolved on election day in one big, hysterically funny bloodletting. And then we all party like it's 1999.
How long do we party like it's 1999 for? 6 hours, 8 hours?
We do it from November 13th through the 16th. Is that the right date?
Yeah. 14th through the 17th.
14th through the 17th from Myrtle Beach.
But I'm telling you, man, here's the thing. These normie conservatives, patriots, good people are starting to buy into the narrative that Donald Trump is about to win in a red Gotterdammerung. And
love that word so much.
Thank you so much. I don't think that it's going to happen. I think that we have a situation where there's going to be drama, and it's going to cause way more than just conservatives to become enraged.
So the first thing I would say is that I think that there's actually a way that we could get all of those things, and that would be by the election, the announcements of the results taking a really long time, like weeks or months, because in that case, everybody's eyes would be on the election all the time. They would see all the different methods of fraud. They would get through all of that. And then at the end, we would get an announcement. The problem is there's no way that our election systems can produce legitimate election results, which means they can't produce legitimate representatives. There is nothing that has been done to the system to suggest anything other than that. And so we are screwed at the beginning going in if we are expecting this election to produce legitimacy. You can't do that. And as soon as the election is over, no matter who is announced the winner, we should be pushing for every bit of that election to be reviewed so that the entire nation can understand these elections are no good.
Yeah.
That said, elections are only battles of narratives. If the election is 100% real and verifiable and transparent, it will reflect the result of the winner of the battle of narratives. If the elections are completely and totally fake, then all that matters is the battle of narratives and what the people are prepared to believe about the results of the election. And
So either way, it's the battle of narratives.
Totally. And
It is
too
a battle
big
of
to
narrative.
rig, too big to rig means that it is narratively too big to rig. Okay. And it's
Wait.
already that. Everybody knows that everybody knows there's no way Donald Trump could win. Or I mean lose, sorry.
Lose.
Almost
Chris,
stuck the landing, blew
I
it.
know, you're so close. Here's the thing, okay? There is a possibility. Now we see that these mainstream media outlets are showing cracks in their willingness to portray a completely false reality. That can be for a number of different reasons. I like to think it's because patriots are in control. There are a bunch of devolution proofs that indicate that patriots can seize these media infrastructures and disseminate good guy messages through them, even through a mouth like freaking Brian Stelter, for all we know.
Yeah.
So what you might see is an orchestrated, rigged election so clownish, so stupid that not even the mainstream media will get behind it. And that is when you have your rupturing of reality. That's when things go to normal.
Yes, that is the best case scenario. And it's just a matter of people wanting to like have that catharsis immediately. That's not what I want. I want a long-term win. I want to fix things.
I know you do, Chris.
I don't need the emotional release on November 5th. It's not coming anyway. There's more work to be done no matter what.
It's a great point. It's a brilliant point. That is the point. And Trump isn't doing this just to give us that catharsis on the 5th.
And I'll tell you what, the way you make sure that it is narratively too big to rig is you systematically eliminate every possible justification they could have that would produce a Kamala Harris win. And he has done that. And that is the reason why he says, let's ballot harvest, let's early vote, get out and early vote, let's mail-in vote. Hey, man, we're going to go on this podcast and that podcast. We're going to talk to the sports bros. We're going to go hit the TikTok Zoomers. We're going to go everywhere. We're going to the Black community. We're going to Asians. We're going to Hispanics. We're going absolutely everywhere. We're going into the blue states. Donald Trump has taken the battle to them at every single level. All of their base demographics are gone, moving in Trump's direction. Everybody, everything, culture. It's cool now.
Yep.
MAGA is cool now.
So cool. Did you see the meme?
Game over.
It is funny. Go ahead.
Did you see the meme where it says a caption, when you've completed the main plot of the game and you've maxed out all your stats, so now you're just going on the weirdest side quests?
Yes.
And it's a picture of Donald Trump serving French fries.
Fantastic.
I mean, it is funny, like everything Trump had to say about TikTok and all that stuff. And then on Joe Rogan last night, he's like, I got a TikTok now. We're killing it. We're getting so many views. We're getting billions of views. Like that's weird to say the least. But when it comes down to the enemy we're facing, right? And this is why I still think, no matter how ridiculous it is, no matter all the things you just said, Chris, about nothing going in their favor, the irregular warfare campaign that Trump initiated by walking away, they've totally won it. They've blown the enemy away. It's been fantastic, but the enemy they're facing is absolutely desperate. Like this, for some of these people, it probably really is their life on the line. Like when these people are saying that Trump is going to turn into a dictator and all these things, and he's going to capture whatever, all his political enemies, that might be true for those handful or few individuals that have committed the treason against the United States like they have. That might actually be true. Their lives are on the line. They are that desperate where I think they're going to try to do this again. And that's what people forget, I think, in our audience and just all over. Like, these people are willing to do anything, and they already have stolen this from him. They have the mechanism in place. The infrastructure for them to steal an election never left. It's always been there. If anything, it's probably gotten a little bigger and better. The only thing that's missing from it is the narrative aspect of it.
Yep.
Which is the most important part. Yeah.
And you got to think about what they're going to do next too, because after this, they want Donald Trump to declare victory and look like he is seizing power. And then they will give the power to him because they want to preserve the election apparatus more than anything, and the illusion that elections are real. They're not real. That's not how leaders of countries are determined. They want him to do that because they're trying to play the Hitler playbook over again. And we would be the Nazis in that scenario. That's what they're trying to make us into. They just tried it this week. They tried Trump is literally Hitler. Trump groped a woman with Jeffrey Epstein, and they tried a Beyonce like witch queen abortion seance, and all of it fell flat. Every little bit of it lost. They have no chance along any of these lines. We should be looking ahead and fixing things, not groveling and trembling about who the TV says won our fake election. You're not going to defeat a millennia-old cabal by going down to your local high school cafeteria and pushing buttons on an iPad attached to a black box.
It's funny. I'm being called wrong in the chat, and I just think it's hilarious. Like, none of us know for sure what is going to happen here, right? Like, how can I be wrong about something that hasn't happened yet? Like, we're part of this is speculation.
John Harold claims without evidence
that a future election might be stolen.
John triggered me without receipts.
Hey, guys, did you see Keith Olbermann? Like,
which time?
Today, I think. Absolutely. Because the people who are really losing their shit right now, they know something's coming. They can't be sure what, because everything's so nebulous. But I put it in the private chat.
You can pull that up. While you're pulling that up, I want to show you guys this real quick. Because I think I pulled this up on Wednesday's Power Hour. You guys are going to love this one. Check out the date on this.
Oh, my God. Hang on.
Oh, wait, why is this? There.
Anyway, I can't share jack squat on this because my.
Okay, I'll pull it up. You can read what's on the screen here. I just want to get your reaction.
Here we go. Oh no, Matt Walsh. If this were Germany in the 1930s, Trump fans would seriously be voting for Hitler. And the date is February 20th, 2016.
Man, he is playing some serious kayfabe. That is one deep white hat op right there.
That is such a deep white hat op, man.
Over at the Daily Weimar.
Okay, so we need to troll him into the next dimension.
Yes, we can do that after the show. Okay,
the best thing is to just repost their stuff from back then. Just retweet that and send that out. Send that out into the wild, and just let's see how it goes.
Another thing about Matt Walsh, didn't he just do an interview with somebody?
Oh, wait. I just don't want to do that unless I retweet this guy. Well, because I somehow lost his.
It's not gonna. So listen, I don't have any problem with words, obviously. That's gonna have its range reduced, and you have the potential to make a nice big range kind of response to that, or just retweet it and let people look at it. You don't even need to put a comment on something like that.
Okay, I'll do that here. Is this the one that you wanted me to share?
Yeah. So I responded to Olbermann, and Olbermann says, "Nice try, Bezos." they're going to still deport Lauren. I don't really know who Lauren is. So
his wife, his new girlfriend or wife, whatever she is.
Whatever. Anyway, and then they're going to put they're going to put you in a camp along with the rest of us. Coward. So they really are going to put them in camps. I hope. I mean, I hope from the bottom of my heart, camps. Fuck you people. But I responded, of course, I think Bezos cut a deal, bro. You might be fucked. And I think a lot of these people they're giving off the vibe of being fucked. Just like Bernie Bright said during our commentary on the Trump interview with Rogan last night. Joe Scarborough, are you kidding me? What has gotten into that guy? And you've got Trump basically coming out calling him Psycho Joe. Yeah, Psycho Joe, we know you killed that pregnant girl, you sick fuck. All that stuff's coming home to roost.
Did I ever show you guys the video of him back? Man, it would have been a while ago. But let me play this clip. This is 2016. This is right after he won the 2016 election. That's when it's from. Check this out.
Donald Trump is going to be elected president of the United States. You know what? They're only voting for Trump because they're racist and bigots. There's no way he can win because they're all just racist and bigots. Well, if you really do believe that, then you believe that 50 million people in America are racist and bigots. And if you really do believe that, then I take pity on you. America is hurting. Economically, middle America is hurting. Read J.D. Vance's book. We actually talked to people in middle America. And they told us they were hurting. And they told us why they were voting for Trump. Mark, my God, Mark, you were with Donald Trump's campaign for the last, 72, 96 hours? And you saw crowds in Michigan and these other states, Wisconsin, Minnesota, crowds that you've never seen before. Donald.
I mean, the full clip, he goes on like a 10-minute monologue here. I just clipped this down because there's a couple. He references J.D. Vance's book, which I thought was hilarious. But right after the election, Joe Scarborough was like criticizing the media and all these people and he was blaming them. It's like, it's your fault that Trump won. It's your fault, the media, that Trump won. And now he amputated his testicles and he's become part of that same media. That's the reason he's going to win.
I'm not sure what the deal is with him. Do we have any recent stuff from him? Because
it's amazing.
Oh yeah,
they're going bananas. All this week they did the Trump is a fascist, Trump is Hitler thing. It's so entertaining. Mika had one of the biggest meltdowns of all time on screen. It was great.
God.
Let me go to Storm Has Arrived's Twitter feed because he's got like one a day from them.
Patrick, we should also, John, watch this other video that Patrick put in the chat.
Which one? Oh, that one.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is a longer video. Oh yeah, here, we'll watch this while I find something else because I saw this earlier and this is great.
I haven't seen it.
Oops. You haven't seen this yet?
Watching things.
Hey everyone, it's Billy.
Hi.
I don't post videos like this often.
By the way, he's like some comedian, right?
Billy Eichner.
Is it famous?
Actor or something?
He's a comedian.
Oh.
Okay. Where is he? What's that in the background?
Looks like a city.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I will regret it if I don't. It's 2 weeks till the election. I'm getting a lot of texts and feeling a lot of people panicking. And then other people saying, no, don't panic. Don't panic. And I think those people are wrong. It is time to fucking panic. Okay. And not just panic, but to do something about it. Because like many people are saying today, the polls are not good. I'm just going to be blunt. I don't work for the Kamala campaign. I'm just going to call it like I see it. The polls are not good. Trump has the momentum. The man's a fucking rapist who's been raping and sexually assaulting women his entire life. He's a fucking Nepo baby, incompetent motherfucker who is mentally disintegrating in front of our eyes, and his voters don't seem to care. So it's going to be up to the rest of us, fucking sane people, to save this country, save the economy, save our most vulnerable citizens, working class people, women who don't have access to abortions, LGBTQ folks, anyone with half a fucking brain, the education department, which he wants to completely eliminate. And I don't mean, I don't care. People are going to be like, Billy Eichner's yelling at us to vote. Great. You can be annoyed at me. but that's not the point. Everyone has to get in the game here. We have 2 weeks. We can't let what happened with Hillary in 2016 happen again. This man is a fucking rapist. He was convicted of it in a court of law earlier this year, but even if he wasn't. So people saying, oh, Donald and Kamala, I see young people saying they're the same, or I hate him, but I don't know if I can vote for her. What the fuck are you talking about? Please get involved. He is a danger to the physical safety of American citizens everywhere, not to mention our economy and to our own control over our personal freedoms, what we do with our bodies, what gets taught in schools. He is very, very dangerous, and not in the cool fucking way that some of his fucking fanboys think he is. Okay?
Hold on.
Does he just keep going like that the whole time?
I think so.
He's got another minute and 20 seconds of this, and we don't need pornography anymore. We have this. Man, I need it directly into my carotid artery. More of this. This gives me strength.
I want to just replay it like a couple seconds earlier when he talks about something about education.
Language, dude.
Hold on one second.
He talks about what?
Control over our personal freedoms, what we do with our bodies, what gets taught in schools.
He said he wants control over our personal bodies and what gets taught in school. But earlier in the thing, he was like, he's going to abolish the Department of Education. Why would he do that if he wants control over what gets taught in schools?
These people have no idea how it works. They think if the Department of Education is not there anymore, then it's just going to be
Donald Trump writing the curriculum,
teaching racism or something.
This guy didn't give two shits about any of that. He's got a few talking points. He doesn't understand any of it. He knows that if Kamala doesn't win, something horrible is going to happen to him. This is a man in existential panic. Look at the way his body is shaking.
I went to his Wikipedia. He is an actor who also does plays himself in reality shows and, talk shows and whatnot. Under personal life, it says just right there, it says Billy Eichner is Jewish and gay. And it's like, all right, well, that was obvious.
We already knew that. Thank you so much.
You guys are so naughty. I don't know why.
It's obvious. Both of those things are obvious.
Especially the Jewish part.
The Jews don't.
Oh, wait. Oh, damn it. If I would have my Trump one ready to go, but I didn't. Let's watch, speaking of meltdowns, right? Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe. Just make sure you guys are following The Storm Has Arrived, because I swear it's like once a day he posts his Morning Joe clip of whether it's Mika or Joe having just an absolute meltdown about the most recent just shit show. So this is from a couple days ago when they went nuts about the John Kelly thing. Let's take a listen.
Donald Trump has promised over the past couple weeks to arrest Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, call them the enemies from within, to go after political opponents, to go after people in the media, to take CBS off the air because he didn't like a 60 Minutes interview. Yeah. He's talked before about trying Comcast for treason. He's talked.
Didn't he? Okay, with just right there with CBS, he said take CBS off the air because he didn't like his interview. But in reality, he said he wanted to sue CBS because they completely edited a Kamala Harris interview question, right? Isn't that two completely different things?
He's talking very seriously. They get these broadcast licenses for free, and they get to be on the airwaves. Whoever said they get to be on the airwaves? They were given this on condition that they would be honest. They're not. They're the enemies of the people. Take their license away. Fuck them.
All right.
I can't think of a more patriotic thing to say.
I'm down.
Talk about taking ABC off the air. Let's talk about all of these things. And let me ask you, do you agree with General Kelly that saying that Donald Trump is behaving like a fascist, is talking like a fascist, should be believed to rule like a fascist? Is that a meme? Or is that something that everybody, including those people who write editorials at the Wall Street Journal, should be deeply concerned about for themselves? So this is more than an election to see who the next president is. This is an election to determine the future fate of what form of government we have and if Madisonian democracy survives.
No lies detected. This is not a 4-year election. This is about destroying their kleptocracy, their democracy. You know, guys, we got to go back to frickin' Marbury versus Madison. We got problems. We live in a system with rule by judges who can just throw open the borders because they bang their gavels. All of this has to be rethought. It was bad from about 1803, and it only survived on the virtue of the American people and the American spirit. But at a certain point, rule by criminal judges and rule by corrupt media oligarchs has to be brought down.
Yeah. Man, we're kind of like jumping all over the place.
There's a through line.
There is. I mean, it's all the election and what's going to happen. And these people are clearly freaking out. They're showing their desperation, or maybe they've completely lost control. Maybe we're wrong about everything. But I don't know. I think there's a little bit of something to what we say. The whole what you said earlier, Chris, about the voting early switch, like they're taking away that talking point.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first time I've heard anybody say it like that. I must have missed that episode of your show because I'm sure you discussed that on there already. And I've said this before. If you guys aren't listening to this podcast at imyourmoderator.substack.com, you're missing on probably the best kept secret that's out there. It's killer. It's awesome. Go subscribe. But the switch here is what's interesting to me, because you could look at it two ways. They could be trying to take away one of those talking points, or Trump could be trying to help them inflate the cheat more, because in 2020, it was all about same day voting. Let's vote on the same day. Don't do any of the early stuff. Don't do the mail-in ballots. Everybody show up on this day so they don't know how much they have to steal. This time around, it's like, get out there and vote as early as you possibly can. Give them as much time as you can to get the steal. I mean, he doesn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking. It's like, why else would you switch that unless you want to encourage them to steal as much as possible? Because that's what I think is happening. That's what I think is coming. And that's what voting early does. It gives them more time to anticipate how much they're going to have to steal. They won't be as surprised on election day. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there might be that aspect to it too. I think everything is narrative, so that stuff doesn't like factor into my thinking as much. But you might be 100% right. I mean, I'm not saying that's not the case. I think back to 2022 in the Kerry Lake election in Arizona, Kerry Lake and Katie Hobbs. And what we saw in the aftermath of that was the aftermath of the 2022 midterms generally, but Arizona with Kerry Lake specifically is a major campaign run by both sides of the uniparty media, all the Con Inc. anti-MAGA people that turned into the DeSantis simp op and had already kind of revealed themselves by then. All of those people suggested that it was Trump candidates and MAGA, and our focus on rigged elections and other kind of Trump agenda issues that cost the Republican Party the red wave and control in the Senate and everything else.
But that was our fault.
That's what I'm saying. They blamed us for all of that. Oh, because we didn't vote hard enough. But that was the thing. Trump didn't tell us to vote hard enough because he didn't get out there and tell us to use all these different methods. So what he's done this time around is eliminate all of those narrative ploys.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. We're just as curious as you guys are about how this is actually going to play out. This has kind of been the focal point of the last 4 years, essentially. Like, how is this part here going to play out? And honestly, does any of it actually matter if what happened in 2020 happened like we think it did? Like, if this is just a narrative run through of this election process to get Trump back in, the actual of what needs to happen happened on I think December 7th of 2020.
Yeah.
But
okay. So I think that it's important to note that even we have a pretty decent sized audience.
Yeah.
The Devolution series is lengthy and it's kind of complicated. So just alluding to it like that might not be clear to a certain portion of the people listening right now.
Okay. So how should I clarify this? If Trump won in 2020 legitimately, but they stole it, and he caught them stealing it, he has evidence of them stealing it, and he decided to devolve the government, implement some sort of continuity government program. So these people, they took office narratively. They're doing certain things, but in terms of your baby in the playpen metaphor, Chris, I think an even better one we came up with on one of Wednesday's Power Hour. It's like we baby proof the house. Like they can walk around, do all sorts of things, but they can't get into this cabinet. They can't get into the drawer. They can't do. There's certain things that they can't do because there's locking mechanisms in place to allow them to do that. It's devolved government.
From the bottom of our hearts, those of you who have not, go to devolution.link and read every bit of it. You're going to want to have it completely read before November 5th. Trust me on that. The other thing is, as far as I brought up before the show, I brought up Seth Keshel's column, which does reference you, Chris. But the Seth Keshel hypothesis on the voting early thing, bearing in mind that Seth himself will be voting in person on election day, the early voting is going to go heavily Republican, like heavily. These early voting numbers are looking amazing for Republicans. So for them to steal it, they're going to have to steal it with in-person on election day. So they're going to have to shift the narrative in 2020, which was, Democrats won because Democrats vote so heavily early and by mail, to, oh my gosh, well, Democrats won because they vote so heavily in person on election day, which will sound stupid.
Well, the only way they'd be able to get away with that is through the machines. And that's the best way to get rid of the machines right there, is to prove how freaking awful they are on election day.
Stacey Abrams, Brian pulled this up on Badlands Daily yesterday. Stacey Abrams, there's a video of her talking to someone at CNN, I think CNN, where she describes how this year, because Georgia did all this stuff to shut down their early voting and suppress the vote, the Democrats are going to come out and vote on election day in Georgia. She was actually selling that yesterday, Patrick, or maybe a couple of days ago. Yep.
Election. Let me see if I can find this video.
And also, before I forget, there is another amazing column by Dawn Billy at dawnbilly.substack.com, Dawn, BILLIE.substack.com, where she theorizes that the 175 million IP addresses that were turned over to global resource systems could have been used as IP addresses to hostilely monitor the election machines themselves on election day. And I like the sound of that hypothesis.
Wait, say that again?
That the IP address, now this is a long column she did, and she asked some tech friends of hers, but you can use, I apologize, IT people, I'm going to get this wrong, but the gist is they can be used for clandestine surveillance over the entire election system in 50 states.
Interesting. You'll have to send me that. I want to read that.
Yeah, I will. I'll get that over to you.
I'm trying to find the clip of Abrams talking about.
Are you looking on Twitter?
Yep. She's on CNN?
CNN or MSNBC. I can't remember. If CanCon's in the audience, he'll send it our way. And if he's not, I guess we're screwed.
Yeah. Ash, I saw Ash. Ash, can you text CanCon or I'll text him.
What do we need from CanCon? I spaced.
He just had this video, Stacey Abrams talking, making the point that you just were, Patrick.
Okay. And here's another thing. Are we going to talk about Lancaster County, or did you already do that on Wednesday?
Which is that the judge, the appellate court who overturned the same day thing?
Okay. Fifth Circuit Court in Texas did say, hey, you can't count ballots that were received after election day, you freaks. I thought that would have been obvious. That probably wasn't their opinion word for word, but that's how I would have written it.
What does that mean for 2020? Okay, they come to this conclusion now. What does that mean for 2020?
Well, considering that those cases haven't actually been adjudicated, it means that by the time this goes up and finishes at the Supreme Court, that will invalidate all that bullshit from 2020. That Joe Biden
Trump
didn't win the election.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that people are like, Joe Biden's been president for 4 years and we need to win an election to remove him.
I know.
How many times has Trump and people in his circle, especially the last year, who's president right now? Who's really running this country right now? They've seeded that question out there a million times. It's everywhere. And then you have so many proofs like I mean, just what was the one this week? God, let me find it. Hold on. I know I retweeted it. And I'm waiting on Brian Canc. I can't believe he's not watching.
But when I say Lancaster County, I'm referring to Pennsylvania and that lady who says, we've been looking over these mail-in ballots and these signatures, and they don't match, and they're done on the same signature. And this is a criminal investigation now, and there's fraud here, and I'm the elections supervisor, and we're looking into this.
Yeah. Lancaster County, of course, was the Lancaster City itself in particular in 2020, the destination of Jesse Morgan and that truck full of like 200,000+ ballots coming in from Bethpage, New York. Yeah.
That's right.
If anybody forgets about that story, there's a great press conference by Phil Klein, PhillKline, going through that. Phil Klein also gives a 2.5 hour long press conference in that transition period where he discusses the interference from the Center for Tech and Civic Life under Mark Zuckerberg.
Here's another cease and desist from Trump. If you want to read this, Patrick, quick.
Yeah. Cease and desist. This is on Truth Social. Cease and desist. I, together with many attorneys and legal scholars, am watching the sanctity of the 2024 presidential election very closely because I know better than most the rampant cheating and skullduggery that has taken place by the Democrats in the 2020 presidential election. It was a disgrace to our nation. Therefore, the 2024 election, where votes have just started being cast, will be under the closest professional scrutiny. And when I win, those people that cheated will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences, so that this depravity of justice does not happen again. We cannot let our country further devolve into a third world nation, and we won't. Please be aware that this legal exposure extends to lawyers, political operatives, donors, illegal voters, and corrupt election officials. Those involved in unscrupulous behavior will be sought out, caught, and prosecuted at levels unfortunately never seen before in our country. Man, you better not give me blue balls, man. I'm not even kidding around.
I think that's like a guarantee.
Yeah. Do you want to address what you just responded to in chat about idolatry? So I think that's a good talking point too. Yeah. Not to put Ann Boyer on the spot, but
okay.
I think that, she was just making the point, and I make the point a lot too. Everybody, we have well, I mean, if we want to go ahead and read it, she said, Chris, people do not want to accept that we have had to endure what was a choice in a battle where we suffered. They don't want leadership tricking them. They want to remain dedicated to the players. Yeah, I totally understand that. People are attached to the television characters in a very real way. And it, I guess, prevents them from seeing what's actually happening. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even trying to be, I don't want to be.
Chris, I'm trying to understand what she's saying. Is she saying that we don't want to accept that it is true that our leaders are definitely deceiving us?
Well, I mean, a lot of people have made the argument now for 4 years straight that all of these characters in the media, all of these politicians, everybody is always doing kayfabe and all this. There's probably a lot of that going on. But to always give the benefit of the doubt to whoever has a little R next to their name, whoever's taking a nice picture with Donald Trump, has always seemed silly to me. So I take both sides of everything and try to see it in both ways. There are a lot of people who we think are good guys right now that are probably bad guys. And we're going to find that out. There are also some people that we believed are bad guys who are going to be good guys, which is why we don't play secret black hat, white hat all the time.
And that's something too that I think is important for people to understand is how many people are pretending to be Trump supporters right now who benefit from the fraudulent system that's been in place forever and would want him gone and are probably going to help try to make that happen, whether it's actually participating in stealing it or just being like, oh, well, Trump didn't try hard enough with wine moms. He hit every other single demographic out there, but not the lesbian wine moms. And so he lost. Like, those are the people, the Tim Pools of the world, who won't let you talk about election fraud on his platform, once if you don't talk about, they're going to turn against him again. Matt Walsh, like they're going to find a specific reason to blame the loss, and they're going to accept that. That's going to happen. I guarantee it.
I'm not guaranteeing jack shit.
Well,
especially if Republicans do poorly down ballot and in the states, it's going to be all these guys are going to blame it on MAGA. The Uniparty is going to protect the Uniparty system.
Q-tards.
Right, exactly. If you see people protecting the election system and not immediately demanding a review of the election, no matter what the results are, those people should be seen as enemies.
Yeah.
We should, regardless, demand some. And I want to clarify something quick about my Q-tard comment. I better show this and give you guys the opportunity to comment.
Yeah, of course.
Our audience is very familiar with being blamed for losing an election, as what happened in 2022.
Oh God, this is
Here's
11
Alex.
minutes and 46 seconds, John.
No, we're only going to listen because he like clips out the one part at the beginning. It's like a minute or minute.
I was able to get to 46 seconds before I melted the fuck down.
But here's Alex Jones blaming Q-tards for losing the election in 2020. It's your guys' fault.
I talk to all the resistance people. I mean, Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, Trump, JD Vance. I mean, I talk to them. I'm in meetings physically with them, and I go to dinner with these people, and I talk to everybody else. And then I'll see Q-tards attacking me on X going, Jones isn't really with Trump. He's an operative. And that's leftists posing as this Q thing to sow dissension in our ranks. And remember Biden was going to be executed on January 20th, and Trump would really be in, and they're literally fought, and that's one reason Trump lost. He actually won by a little, but so many people believe the Q thing that they didn't go out and vote because we're invincible and the feds are good and the white hats and all this, and it's like a comic book thing for people that have woken up but they don't have any facts, and so they just want to believe something that's esoteric, and that's human nature with some people, because with some types of people, maybe 30% of people on average, and there's been studies done on this, that they'd rather see the Virgin Mary's face in a piece of toast or a cloud than actually read the Bible. They want esoteric. They want a rumor rather than here's the document for martial law, and here they are saying they want a race war. We better get out and stop this. They just, I heard this is going to happen. Because people like a rumor rather than something real.
Okay. Number one, did you see those giant bags under that fat fuck's eyes? You understand that guy, the man sitting at that desk, is claiming to be my age. Okay.
You look way better than him.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
It must be a perfect opportunity to plug.
Yes, guys. Do you know the Mr. Leota himself? Well, he has been suffering from terrible sun damage and nothing helped. This, as you see him right now, is before rainfall, 2 weeks of rainfall use, giant improvements. And that's because rainfall is the best lotion the world has ever known. I make it myself. That's right. We make it, we bottle it. Every single bottle is cared for by me and my wife. There, just check that out. Before rainfall, after rainfall, 2 weeks of rainfall use. It's because of virgin organic plant oils in the lotion. Put it all over your body. If you ever get sunburned, it'll heal you. It causes dead skin to tumble away without a trace of abrasion. So go to tulipblooms.shop. That's tulipblooms.shop. Guys, we are helping people left and right. And make sure when you go to tulipblooms.shop, you use promo code Badlands, because when you do that, you get 10% off. Not only that, but 25% of that sale goes directly into an account that pays for the salaries of all of these Badlanders. And at tulipblooms.shop, you get free shipping until November 2nd. Rainfall. There's nothing like it in the entire world. Get it today. Now,
the only correction I would make there, Patrick, is where you said giant improvement. I just want to say improvement. I think he looked good before. It wasn't a giant. It was just an improvement. He looked great after.
You've ever had
before.
sun damage like that, like serious sun damage, and you don't know what the hell to do, and it's just this unsightly, because real sun damage is very unsightly.
Oh, bro!
And then all of a sudden you get this massive improvement, and certain other products didn't help him at all. And I am so stoked, dude. And
I was just commentating on. He was. I just the way you said like giant improvement. It seemed like he looked like a
giant, like Alex Jones's gut, giant.
Yeah, there you go.
Alex Jones is a CIA operative, possibly Mossad, and I think I will come on baseless conspiracies and prove it whenever you like, because that guy is a son of a bitch who is there for the purpose of leading patriots astray, and he did it from the beginning with full foreknowledge.
Yeah, I got that clip from CanCon. Texted him.
Nice.
Sweet.
I don't know how much of this we want to listen to, but
so let's go to Stacey Abrams now, former Georgia state representative and Democratic candidate for governor.
Speaking of larger than charge,
podcast Assembly Required with Stacey Abrams. And Stacey, I'm great, so happy to have you back. So let me ask you about what we're seeing in Georgia. Harry was just talking about your state just passing already more than 1.5 million people have voted early in this election, breaking turnout records left and right. Yesterday, the most voting ever on a Sunday. And turnout usually goes up as you get closer to election day. I mean, you could be looking at 25% or more of the entire state already voting before even election day. It is incredible. Does it feel that way to you? And do you have a sense on the ground of who is turning out?
We are excited about the turnout. Let's be clear about that. However, we need to caveat that by recognizing that one of the reasons we are seeing so many people in person standing in lines this early is because Republicans constrained access to vote by mail. Because in 2020, voters that they found inconvenient, that Brian Kemp said he wasn't pleased with their participation, they made it harder for those voters to vote by mail. But the good thing is, despite the roadblocks that Republicans put in place in 2021 with their SB 202 law, they are changing lanes. They're like, you might not want us to vote by mail, but we're going to show up in person because we want our voices to be heard. So we're excited because we are seeing voters who showed up in 2020, voted by mail, instead showing up in person because they refuse to be pushed out of this election. And we are very bullish about those numbers continuing to grow.
All right. So even McKenna.
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that's very compelling that they're going to have to make that switch from the early voting stuff to same day. And the only way they're going to get away with that is the machine switching.
We know what they're going to do. We know what the narrative is going to have them doing.
Oh my God, look how many Democrats showed up in person on election day to vote.
They're trying them all. I don't think any of them are going to work. I just have to show this. This is so quick, but someone in my chat today made this, and it's just beautiful. Oh, man.
The Alex Jones thing?
Yeah. Hold on a second. It wouldn't let me share it as a video file.
I think that was...
Maybe I can just share this window.
Just share your screen. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. John, you want to? Here we go. Here we go. Look at that. How about that?
That's amazing.
Doesn't really operate like a GIF right here, but man, oh man, I was like, you have done something perfect here, my friend.
That's super good.
Sorry.
All guys, back to the Alex Jones thing, all assets friggin' deployed. We saw that little gay health ranger dude, Mike Adams. He got big after COVID, nice little operative there. I might lose my career if I say this, but MAGA is totally all in bed with Zionist, blah, blah, blah. I'm a big queer. That's going to happen more and more as we get closer to election day. I'm kind of blown away that the usual suspects in Con Inc. aren't turning on Trump. Don't know what that's about.
They got to wait till after because they can't be seen harming his election chances.
Well done. Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah. Did you see the Scavino post? We talked about this Wednesday too. He's basically like, if you turned on Trump, if you weren't there for us, you turned on us. Don't come crawling back. Yeah, they got to wait for the opportune time now.
After
Let's,
this election, if this election gets stolen, guys, we've got to be ready to be doing like wall-to-wall coverage. Right after the 2020 election was stolen, CanCon was like my lifeline to sanity.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
If that happens again here in 2024, we need to be there, because the number of people who are going to be looking for sanity right after a stolen 2024 election is going to be off the friggin' charts.
And you know what, guys? That is why I timed GART Myrtle Beach to be probably when the election results are coming in. We are going to be at Myrtle Beach November 14th through the 16th. If you can't be there in person with us, coping about whatever results come through, you can join us virtually with a virtual ticket. And I would encourage you to do that. We should do a show leading up to it for virtual ticket holders, like where we go through the election. Maybe that's where we do our election scenario stuff. Like, okay, this is this could be possible. This could be possible. Let's give our predictions, see what happens. But you need your virtual tickets to watch that. We're definitely to do something along those lines. So badlandsmedia.tv/events. We've also put out our calendar for next year, going to Vegas in March. Yes, Vegas in March. We got the full year book now. So 4 events in 2025.
Can you even believe we're doing a GART in Las Vegas? That's going to be a lot of fun. What's Vegas like in February? I've never been in February.
I don't know. I don't care. Slot machines still work.
Slot machines.
It's way nicer, Patrick, than it is in the summer, because the summer is like 110 degrees, and the winter months are lovely.
Those are on our website too with the dates, so you guys can, make some plans to join us.
In Myrtle Beach, is there any way for me to put on a bathing suit and go into the water?
I mean, I'm sure.
Or will it kill me?
I don't know.
It'll kill me. Okay.
Well, I'm by no means a Myrtle Beach expert in any. I've never been. I don't even know if I've been to the East Coast. Well, Florida, I guess. Were we on the East Coast in Cocoa Beach?
We were definitely on the East Coast.
Okay, but never been on the Northeast Coast. So no clue.
That Cocoa Beach was the most amazing beach, and the water was warm. I loved it, except there were definitely jellyfish in there, and I definitely got grazed by one.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
You know what? Now that I think about it, with how much Burning Bright talks about shark activity in the Northeast, you probably wouldn't survive. You're probably right.
I'd get it like immediately, and that would be the story of me.
Yeah, let's make a switch here, a little pivot away from the election stuff. Unless, Chris, do you want to talk about your election plans, or should we save that?
Oh, I mean, we can anytime. I will only report what I'm going to do when we eliminate the secret ballot.
That's a great response.
It's going to have to happen. And the funny thing is, too, with everyone wanting voter ID, the government is going to know what you vote for. Of course, they know that. People with access to all that data know who you're voting for. The only people you're keeping it a secret from are your neighbors. And so if you are going and casting a vote and saying, who should hold power over my neighbor? That guy. You should be able to stand up and say why you want that to happen. And right now we've eliminated that possibility to our own detriment. And the secret ballot is what allows these things to be stolen. If people don't want to stand up and make their opinion and voice their opinion, then they shouldn't have a right to vote. Also, I don't know if we want to take 5 minutes on this. I don't think it'll take longer than that. I mean, we could talk about it all night, but we don't have to. This writer from the Civil War era, from the 1800s, Lysander Spooner, wrote this amazing, I mean, it's an essay, but it's a long essay called No Treason and the Constitution of No Authority. And he talks about the secret ballot in here. And Patrick, I think if we go through a couple of sections here, you might really enjoy the rational progression here.
You want me to go start from number 7?
Yeah. If you guys are up for it, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm down. Yeah. 7, as all the different votes are given secretly by secret ballot, there's no legal means of knowing from the votes themselves who votes for and who against the Constitution. Therefore, voting affords no legal evidence that any particular individual supports the Constitution. And Where there can be no legal evidence that any particular individual supports the Constitution, it cannot legally be said that anybody supports it. It is clearly impossible to have any legal proof of the intentions of large numbers of men where there can be no legal proof of the intentions of any particular one of them.
I love that.
I do too. 8. There being no legal proof of any man's intentions in voting, we can only conjecture them. As a conjecture, it is probable that a very large proportion of those who vote do so on this principle, that if by voting they could but get the government into their own hands or that of their friends and use its powers against their opponents, they would then willingly support the Constitution. But if their opponents are to have the power and use it against them, then they would not willingly support the Constitution. In short, men's voluntary support of the Constitution is doubtless, in most cases, wholly contingent upon the question whether by means of the Constitution they can make themselves masters or are to be made slaves. Such contingent consent as that is, in law and reason, no consent at all. 9. As everybody who supports the Constitution by voting, if there are any such, does so secretly by secret ballot and in a way to avoid all personal responsibility for the acts of his agents or representatives, it cannot legally or reasonably be said that anybody at all supports the Constitution by voting. No man can reasonably or legally be said to do such a thing as to assent to or support the Constitution unless he does it openly and in a way to make himself personally responsible for the acts of his agents, so long as they act within the limits of the power he delegates to them. 10. As all voting is secret by secret ballot, and as all secret governments are necessarily only secret bands of robbers, tyrants, and murderers, the general fact that our government is practically carried on by means of such voting only proves that there is among us a secret band of robbers, tyrants, and murderers whose purpose is to rob, enslave, and so far as necessary to accomplish their purposes, murder the rest of the people. The simple fact of the existence of such a band does nothing towards proving that the people of the United States or any one of them voluntarily supports the Constitution.
We can...
For all the reasons that have now been given, voting furnishes no legal evidence as to who the particular individuals are, if there are any who voluntarily support the Constitution. It therefore furnishes no legal evidence that anybody supports it voluntarily.
I mean, this is brilliant. And truly, this is the only way that you could verifiably like conduct an election where you can prove that the results are legitimate, where it's all public. Everybody can go and look and verify for themselves that they voted for who they said they voted for. There's no other way.
It's ultimately going to come down to a privacy issue. We have this idea that our lives are very private now, but they're not. Our lives are private from each other, the people who we ostensibly at least trust, but they're not at all private from the corporations or from the government, the people who we don't trust at all. So we've actually given away all the value of what we retain as privacy to the very people who would be most inclined to hurt us with it. And we remain blocked off from the people close around us. Now, we know all of the data about what we've done in our lives, the things that we've done and said in the digital era. All of that stuff is owned by those people. They have it all available. I am still at least partly of the mind that there will be a moment at some point where all of that stuff is just released to the world. Everybody's everything is just out there. And if I want to get your most personal information and attack you with it, I can, just like you can get it for me. And at some point, you know, it's almost like a nuclear standoff, right? It's mutually assured destruction, which disinclines people and disincentivizes them from doing it. And so then it will ultimately be a question of morality and whether we just actually need to practice forgiveness on a society-wide basis, because there's no other way forward than that. And when you then take this into the kind of future that we seem to be moving into, a voter ID will be very similar to our digital ID and our overall personal ID. And now listen, maybe all of that's a terrible idea, but it seems like that's what's in our very near future. So if that's attached to an identity and it's verifiable to you and you are voting your vote that way, that seems like one of the possibilities of the tech oriented future that we are being led into. Whether that's good or bad is, you know, people's choice to make. But in terms of the privacy or secrecy thing, it's really hard to argue against this.
Yeah. Patrick, you got anything?
Except for the fact that I've always thought these things, you know, that we have among us a secret band of robbers, tyrants, and murderers and thieves. Did I say thieves twice? Yeah, I did. The secret ballot really is just a wonderful instrument for tyranny. It's impossible to rig an election with public ballots.
Yeah.
So there's one reason to have a secret ballot, because you want to rig elections.
But I mean, honestly, if you take away the media, the mainstream media as it is now, and how they demonize people who don't follow their narrative, you take away control and power from some of these huge corporations that have the ability to do the same thing, you kind of remove all the threats of having your vote. I mean, think of the last 4 years. People who would have publicly voted for Trump, like the people who, you know, maybe support him privately, don't want to say it publicly. They don't say it publicly because they're afraid of the ramifications of doing so. They're afraid of their neighbors demonizing them. But even more severe to them is like the public consequences. Some people get debanked. Some people get demonetized on platforms. Like in the social media world, there's huge ramifications these last 4 years. Major consequences for being a Trump supporter. We've lived through that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remove those consequences, then why not have it public? There's no reason not to.
Well, yeah, I think those consequences are probably overstated, and those consequences are meted out by awful people. And
I don't know if they're overstated, man. Like we've been through a bunch of shit.
There aren't that many John Heralds. There are just very few John Heralds. You really think about the number of views there are. There's just not many.
True.
And in the event that there was general public voting, they can't debank that many people. They can't debank 1% of them.
That's true.
It's, you know, also though, John, it's a matter of like who the people are who are meting out these consequences. Those are people who keep their stuff secret or are very overt about their political opinions from a place of power, and then picking on people that don't have that much power. There are ways to even some of these things out. And I think that a big part of it's going to even out when the American people realize that we're not anywhere close to a 50-50 country, and that the people who are on the attack constantly on a political basis using the kind of rules for radicals strategies, the Alinsky strategies, those people are on one side. And when it is clear that they are a very, very tiny minority, it's going to change a lot of things, man.
I put a tweet in the chat, the latest Kamala Harris ad. And John, if you saw it.
Is it the most recent one you put in there?
It's the most recent one. And hat tip to John Morrison for sending it to me.
Apparently this is real. It's so hard for me to believe it's real.
So you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm unable to view the post. Whoever this is has blocked me.
What a schmuck. Oh, Mike Cernovich.
Cernovich, yeah.
Oh, no way. He blocked me now? What a faggot.
I'm not blocked by Cernovich, but I can't share anything with my screen being this small. Chris, can you?
Oh, you're not on Twitter.
Yes, I can. Yes. No, but I can still do. I can get one tweet at a time. I'm allowed one tweet. Okay, so hey, to everybody out there, truly apologies for this. We didn't do it.
Really, apologies. This is not, like, if there are children, turn it off. This is inappropriate for anybody but adults, and it's adults who are willing to watch trash.
Yeah, so earmuffs or eye blinders or whatever it is.
Is it really that bad?
It's not that bad, but it's kind of bad.
Oh! Sorry, you can't do that.
What the hell, man? How'd you get in here?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning porn nationwide.
You can't tell me what to do. Get out of my bedroom, you creep.
I won the last election, so it's my decision. I'm just going to watch and make sure you don't finish illegally.
Okay.
There's no way that's real.
So it's called the Progress Action Fund. I'm going to have to do this right now.
You know, it's funny that you say that because my friend sent it to me with the caption, "This can't be real."
I mean, it might be a real thing, but there's no way they're playing that on TVs.
Cernovich said it's from White Dudes for Harris, whatever that group is. I mean, so wow.
Cernovich told me to wear a mask, right? He told everybody to wear a mask. Just wear a effing mask.
Wear a fucking Maskovich.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
no, these people are off, but
can't
they
trust
are.
anything he says.
So this is when Republicans go low, we go lower. Wow. So they are talking about this ad right here. I want to see who actually Joe Jacobson, political strategist. So Kyle Richards. I've never heard of these people.
By the way, I do want to make sure that when it comes to pornography is a weapon used to weaken the male population of a society. So avoid it as best you can.
Agree with that.
Instagram is basically soft pornography. I always used to believe that when I was in Hollywood, because truthfully, it basically is out there. It's just a lot of like Instagram models are basically escorts. And so it's just like escorts putting their resume online all the time.
I didn't know that. I'm banned from Instagram.
So
yeah, me too.
And I can't figure out how to use it anyway. I would use it because I hear it's a great way to advertise products. But apparently that product has to be like vagina or something. So anyway.
All right, Kate, let's get to kind of our final talking point tonight, I think. And it's this story that came out this last week. And I think this is pretty dasting. Read through this.
Elon Musk's secret conversations with Vladimir Putin. Elon Musk, the world's richest man and a linchpin of U.S. space efforts, has been in regular contact with Russian President Vladimir Putin since late 2022. The discussions, confirmed by several current and former U.S., European, and Russian officials, touch on personal topics, business, and geopolitical tensions. At one point, Putin asked the billionaire to avoid activating his Starlink satellite internet service over Taiwan as a favor to Chinese leader Xi Jinping, said two people briefed on the request. What's the source here, by the way?
Probably two anonymous sources.
No, I mean, what's the publication?
Wall Street Journal.
Okay, thanks. All right.
The Wall.
The Wisja. Musk has emerged this year as a crucial supporter of Donald Trump's election campaign and could find a role in a Trump administration should he win. While the U.S. and its allies have isolated Putin in recent years, Musk's dialogue could signal re-engagement with the Russian leader and reinforce Trump's expressed desire to cut a deal over major fault lines, such as the war in Ukraine. At the same time, the contacts also raise potential national security concerns among some in the current administration, given Putin's role as one of America's chief adversaries. Musk has forged deep business ties with U.S. military and intelligence agencies, giving him unique visibility into some of America's most sensitive space programs. SpaceX, which operates the Starlink service, won a $1.8 billion classified contract in 2021 and is the primary rocket launcher for the Pentagon and NASA. Musk has a security clearance that allows him access to certain classified information.
We can probably stop there. I mean, you guys get the idea, but I thought this was incredible. They're saying that, Musk is talking to Putin regularly about all sorts of things, and the White House isn't aware of it or wasn't aware of it until this story came out. I mean, I don't know if we've seen actual confirmation from anybody that this is a true story, but if it is, I think it's fascinating because you know what? I bet Trump knows about these conversations. Trump, even in the Rogan interview, he referenced to like, I don't remember if he said this in private or public. I don't want to put him on the spot or whatever. When they were talking about the election machines, he's like, you have to do same day voting. Like, why would he say that unless the machines are freaking fraudulent, right?
Yeah.
But Trump has a personal relationship with Elon Musk. I believe he also has one with Putin. He knows these two are talking. sovereign alliance shit. This is some devolution shit here. It's pretty fascinating.
I would say that we find it fascinating because the reporting is consistent with our worldview, that Elon might get a request from Putin on behalf of Xi Jinping because Putin and Xi Jinping are the main players in the so-called sovereign alliance.
It also
doesn't mean it's true, but
it also makes that story from back in the day, Elon Musk's refusal to have Starlink support Ukraine attack in Crimea, raises questions for Pentagon. Makes this a little more interesting too.
Yep.
If Elon did that, how the hell is he still the biggest contractor for the DoD? Now, the official answer is going to be because his products are indispensable. Whatever, dude.
But
I don't buy that.
Well, the current administration isn't even really necessarily using his product. They've spent $42 billion on this other internet infrastructure and didn't put a single thing in place. When Elon Musk, that came up in the interview too on Rogan. Trump was like, we could have put internet in every single person's home for less than that using Starlink. But instead we got this. So I bet that's coming.
You mentioned the Trump comments about Elon on the Rogan interview. He also said right after that Elon was a proponent of the paper ballots, and Trump mentioned that they can be watermarked and the rest of it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I believe that the Wall Street Journal article had a confirmation of one conversation from a Russian official. So, and of course they're trying to make it sound like they have this relationship where Elon Musk is actually like interfering on behalf of the Russians. Who knows, man? They might be trying to take another shot at getting X shut down in app stores the way they went after TikTok and stuff. Telegram.
That's an interesting avenue I wasn't thinking of. Like with all this stuff about Musk being, we got to take on Twitter and all that, working with Putin, having conversations with Putin, that's a vector for the Russians interfering in the elections again. And using Musk to do it, they could kill two birds with one stone with that narrative.
They're going to try to sell this stuff to the people. I mean, nobody's going to buy it, but
it's interesting. Anything else on this though?
One last thing while we're on the topic of Elon, he had that first campaign event he did last week. And John, you sent me that. I don't think we talked about that. No, we didn't talk about that last week. Or did we? Did we put that on DPH? We did. About him releasing things them releasing all the information after the election. And, somebody was pointing out the other day, WikiLeaks posted about potential questions Rogan could ask Trump. You got to wonder if maybe Julian Assange is back behind the wheel. Maybe
WikiLeaks
Elon
posted?
WikiLeaks on Twitter posted like a 5-tweet thread. I can find it for you. But, talking about dumping a lot of information after the election, who knows how much of that is WikiLeaks stuff that may have been released over these last few years. And that ends up being the Twitter files and the rest of it. I mean, who knows how many of these limited hangouts are, or slow disclosure ops are somehow downstream from that. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. And you know what? We would probably be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't listen to this clip from McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
Our colleague, Ambassador Charles Freeman, refers to this person as the worst Secretary of State since World War II, cut number 16.
Israel has achieved most of its strategic objectives when it comes to Gaza, all with the idea of making sure that October 7th could never happen again. In the space of a year, it's managed to dismantle Hamas's military capacity. It's destroyed a bunch of its arsenal. It's eliminated its senior leadership, including, most recently, Yahya Sinwar. This has come at the cost, great cost, to Palestinian civilians in Gaza. Now is the time to turn those successes into an enduring strategic success. And there are really two things left to do. Get the hostages home and bring the war to an end with an understanding of what will follow.
Is he credible? Netanyahu will never bring the hostages home. Then there's no reason for war.
Well, let's understand something. Everyone in the world today, not just in the Middle East, but virtually everyone, views Blinken as Netanyahu's point man. and that's what he is. Our government is being hijacked. There's no one up there directing much of anything. They are, along with the government in London, by the way, they are all 100% on board with the Greater Israel Project. And he's certainly not going to say anything other than what he has. So everybody knows that he repeats Netanyahu's talking points. There's no daylight between them. One wonders just what happens in the White House behind the scenes, let alone the State Department. I think the one place that there are some voices that don't fall in line is DOD, because the CIA is joined at the hip with MI6 and Mossad. So virtually no daylight between those entities and us. And of course, the American people know nothing about it, have never been consulted. And the media ensures that the truth about what's actually happening on the ground never gets through.
The reason, again, I don't know if you can put any weight behind what he's saying. The reason it's interesting is this. November 9th, Chris Miller was named the acting Secretary of Defense. You guys know why we think he's so crucial and important. It was 2 days later that Douglas McGregor was named as a senior advisor to Chris Miller. He was there basically from when Chris Miller started all the way through the end. I believe this was the same exact day that both Ezra Cohen-Watnick and Kaush Patel got their jobs at the DoD, like their new positions. So we look at him as some signal a lot of the times. And that was a very interesting thing where he says the DoD is not falling in line with a lot, because that's a devolution thing, right? So I had to point that out.
Yeah, that's a great clip. Yeah, that's a great clip. And I mean, he also he legitimately just said that there's no one's directing anything up there. And he's talking about Washington, D.C. He talks about Blinken being a mouthpiece for Netanyahu. There's no way to actually complete the Greater Israel Project without first dominating the world. Like they're talking about that takes over the Middle East, and under an interpretation of a Bible that they continue to always go to that same well over and over again, it is justified that they have to do this as part of the Zionist project. I mean, they're kind of giving the game away on that if what he says is true.
Yeah. The whole Israel situation it's hard for me to wrap my head around, and that's why we probably don't talk about it much on these shows. We leave that to Ghost to Base Patrick Henry. That's his wheelhouse. But the recent document leaks or whatever, the intelligence leaks from the lady at the, what's her name, Tabayata, who just got a promotion.
Tabatabai. But didn't they say it's not her that did it? Didn't they come out and question that reporting and
maybe
withdraw it?
Okay. Maybe because there's been lots of reporting on her being the one, and lots of concerns raised about her for, I mean, basically since March of 2021. It's like, why is this person with Iranian connections in the DoD?
So to me, man, that story reads like a rerun of early 2023 before the spring summer counteroffensive in Ukraine, where the plans all got leaked on a Discord server by a 21-year-old National Guardsman, and then that story just disappeared forever. We're like, oh, we got him. I guess we can forget about that. It's just a rerun. And so both of those are totally fake. And it seems like we're getting maybe a reenactment of something that this Tabatabai woman would have done prior to 2021. But the idea that this just happened last week is insane to me.
Yeah, it's just the narrative of it that I'm looking at, because is the narrative being pushed that the Biden administration is colluding with Iran? Yes. Is it even more serious that Iran is calling the shots? Because if it's true that she got a promotion in the wake of this story, even if the story is totally false and she didn't actually leak all this stuff, the last thing I would do is promote her, because that's such a bad look. You know what I mean? The optics of that are terrible, but they did. Anyway, who knows? You guys want to get to the rants? What do you think?
I sure do. I don't know 100% know if I got the first one. The first one I have is actually 9:44 p.m. What do you have, John?
I got 9:36. We have Dirk McGurkin says Kamala couldn't find a reliable. Oh wait, that's the wrong show. Dang it.
Oops.
That was last night. Hold for processing. First one I got is Keith O'Higgins. I don't see a timestamp on this, but it's So Barack and Tim Pool are power bottoms? Question mark.
I don't know about yes. I mean, you got to assume.
Is that the first one you got?
Oh, no, it's not the first one I got. The
Okay,
first
then
one I got was from Sup Ching 17JK.
Okay, there's one more before that. It's Old Man T saying, I was sure that there would be some Black Swan October surprise financial correction or mass awakening event before the election. Seems like not happening till after November 5th. There are still 10 days left,
I
sir.
hate to say this, but we got 5 days left in October, so I don't know. I pray for our safety in all ways and your safety as well.
Yeah.
$50. Sup Chug 17JK, $50. Thank you so much for such a generous super chat. Hey John, could you speed yourself up to 1.35 so we could listen to Chris and Gunnels longer than you? Ha 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 ha.
Who said that?
The dude who just gave $50. So I'm willing to take a little abuse. But then again,
yeah.
you're the one taking the abuse.
Yeah,
Sub
I'll
Chug.
take it.
Okay, yeah.
I do have a couple boosts here quick too.
Okay.
And now it's your turn for abuse, Patrick. From
Oh,
Thomas
sweet.
Times, $10. Since Patrick revealed he's a flat earther, I did some soul searching. Results. I'd rather be in a foxhole with Patrick. Oh, this is not going the way I thought it was going to go. A flat earther who is patriotic, faith-based, and a cunning linguist than Harris, a commie, atheist, Jenna Ellis level worker.
Yeah.
That took quite the turn.
I'll take it. I'll take
Thank
it.
you,
But I
Thomas
wear my
Times.
flat earther badge with pride.
Yes,
And
you do.
but I would definitely be in a foxhole with you, Globehead, in a heartbeat. All right.
Okay, I think that's all of them. That's the only one we had. So
Okay, sweet. So here we go. Somewhere. Yeah. And we have Desist, $20. If the MSM are trying to prove they aren't biased, Bezos is right, but his editorial team and the Democrats freaking out just prove our point. Biased.
Yep, you missed one there too. Thank you, Quinn, by the way. The real Mega Mama says, did you catch what 45 said to Rogan? The federal government is not paying for all the immigrants. Who is? Interesting comment.
I don't know. Great question. $1. Denise Antu Beaumont is my old stamping ground, Patrick. Lived in Lumberton and Winnie. I really miss Texas except for the heat and bugs. Denise, it's kind of stinky here in Beaumont, not gonna lie.
What does it smell like?
Kind of like methane, which smells kind of like farts. So
the butthole mirror.
It's not the best. But I think there's some kind of methane thing going on. I don't know. Whatever. $5. R3 Contech. Oh, Recontech. Be prepared for a referendum election. I agree. I mean, this is definitely a referendum, except for the fact that it's not a real election. So
I think he's talking about after the fact.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Chris, so let's say we go through this election stuff.
Mhm.
Trump is declared winner. 2020 isn't addressed. What do you like? What are your thoughts on that?
Better address 2020. I mean, listen, I love Donald Trump, but the idea that someone is going to win a fake election and we're going to pretend it's real is no. There's no deal on that.
I agree with you.
He's already the duly elected president as far as I'm concerned. So I just think he needs to be publicly recognized again. And I've been saying this for a really long time. That can be accomplished with the narrative. That can be accomplished with the narrative on 11/5. And if it becomes immediately obvious to everyone that the election is stolen and Trump just steps in and is like, hey guys, just to let you know, they did this in 2020 as well. I'm just going to take it from here. I would be cheering.
That'd be amazing.
I will go streaking if that happens. All right. I want everybody to be happy. It's not like I don't want these people to be happy. They're like, he's always trying to ruin something for us.
Okay, so we have it confirmed. We have it confirmed. If Trump does that, Chris will be streaking at Myrtle Beach. You can only witness with your virtual ticket, badlandsmedia.tv/events.
To be clear, I was joking. I will not be doing that.
You said it. You said it on air, and that's as good, firm as gold. You cannot say you didn't say that. So
if I were 20 pounds thinner, I would streak for $20. $5.
Would you streak for $5 right now?
Yeah. If I were thinner. $5. Jay Gonzalez, 1123. And then, there's a tweet here, John. So yeah, John will grab that.
Thank you so much for the super chat. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Does Chris think a red wave victory in 2024 is hollow if vengeance and accountability for 2020 aren't achieved immediately?
Oh. Well, yeah, I think I just answered that. Yes.
Yes. $20, nobody, 777. What is up, my friend? I love this shit show that stirs the shit storm. Lots of emojis and a crucifix. GQ 17 plus 3. I didn't know how to tip 17. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks,
that Twitter link was a quote tweet of the Matt Walsh thing.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
It's I get the tweet. I don't get Matt Walsh. I just can't. I don't get it. He's the most condescending motherfucker I think I've ever witnessed in my life. If you listen to him, he's like, you haven't done nothing with your life. If you haven't have a million followers, you haven't done nothing. Don't talk to me. Don't ask questions.
He's Gentile Ben Shapiro.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah. I mean, if he is in fact a Gentile and not a crypto Jew, but whatever. All right. Where do I have put my super chats? Okay, they're there. All right. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Hey, Billy, if sane means sodomy, call me crazy. I got nothing. I don't know what that joke means. Thank you, Keith O'Higgins. $5. Post Miz. I'm upstate New York. First day, early voting. Hubby and I voted when it opened. I'm having heart surgery Wednesday, but it keeps getting rescheduled. Not taking any chances. I don't want to get wheeled in on pain and on meds. Hey, you have a very valid reason.
Yeah.
My reason is just because I feel like it. So, your reason is much better than mine.
And here's my thing about the voting stuff. I believe that you should be voting because Trump is narratively operating in that field where you should vote. He's saying you should vote. Like, get your ass to the polls. There's that. I'll actually have a clip of that. And so even though I think the polls are the election's fake, fraudulent, everything Chris says, I'm still going to go through the motions and participate in. I think everybody should, because for whatever reason, Trump wants us to do that. And it's not hard to vote. It's not hard to go vote. Just fucking do it. It's not that hard. But here, this is one of my favorites.
Must get your asses out to vote. Gotta get up. Gotta get up. Harry, get up, Harry. Harry, get your fat ass out of the couch. You're going to vote for Trump today, Harry.
Can I just say one thing about that?
Yeah.
So, when people go out and vote, they don't only vote for Donald Trump. They go ahead and they vote for everyone with a little R next to their name down ballot. So while you go make your consent for Donald Trump's rule known, you will also be installing members of the Uniparty into governments illegitimately, whose sole mission in life is to subvert Donald Trump's rule. So again, these decisions come with downsides.
For sure. But also, if we think that Trump is going to be resolving our system in some fashion, somehow exposing the election fraud, we need to make sure he gets in there, right?
How does he get in there?
You can go in and vote for him. Again, we don't know how this is going to play out. We don't know if he needs the narrative victory. We don't believe he does, but
so I think when you don't know what's going on and what you should do, you should operate on morality and truth, not by giving the biggest benefit of the doubt to a bunch of people to be liars and then obeying the TV man because you decide he means one thing that he says and not all the other things that he says.
But that's not who I'm giving the benefit of. I agree with everything you said there. I'm giving my benefit of the doubt to Trump, who's saying, go vote.
He also says we don't need any more votes. He just said the other night, we're not running against Kamala. We're not running against Joe. He said we have all the votes we need. What we need to do is guard the vote. He said he won in 2020 and the election was under protest. He never conceded. There's still open court cases.
Totally agree with, man. Like I fully believe he implemented devolution, all those things for whatever reason.
But these things, but the point is these things, but yes, but that's in my point is only, and again, everybody should do whatever the hell they want. It's not my business. I don't care if you do or don't vote or who you vote for. I don't care at all. Okay. Do what you want. But if you're saying I'm going to do it because Trump says, he also says all these other things that people are choosing to ignore.
Yep. I agree with that. he's all over the map. I mean, if you could look through his speeches, and maybe this is one of the side effects of him doing so much. Like, he's doing so many rallies. He's on air so often. He says so many things. He does the weave so often. Like, you can pull a clip of anything. Like, he will go from one time, like, we're going to win big. It's going to be too big to rig. The very next rally, he'll say, if we win, I don't know. They're just putting blank ballots in there. Who knows what happens? Like, he's all over the map with that stuff. But to me, even though I know it's a fraudulent system, I'm voting, and I'm encouraging people to do it because repeatedly Trump has said, "Get your ass to the polls, go vote." But it's up to you guys. You guys don't have to vote. It's not my business. We'll see.
Let me say something else real quick.
Yeah.
I said a long time ago that the down ballot elections can't be stolen because they were already stolen in the primaries.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm glad you guys are on the same page with that, because I don't remember who it was that said, but what about the down ballots? They're going to put Trump in and steal all the down ballot. What do you mean? What? You think there's MAGA patriots on the ballot? Like, what world is that?
Yeah, because I mean that needs to be cleaned out at some point too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, the entire system needs a reset button.
Yep, there's a whole bunch of Crenshaws on the ballots.
And I just don't see us getting there if Trump wins on November 5th, because he tried to do it. He tried to address the election fraud system in March of 2017 when he named Pence as the chair of that election fraud committee, the election integrity committee, and it went nowhere. It got stonewalled by all the Democrats all over the country and Mark Elias. And so he canceled the thing. He sent all the data to DHS and said, okay, whatever. That's where, like, that will happen again if we don't address it before that.
And that's when you get the hose.
Yes.
$5. Feppy. Chris is correct. My mate wore a MAGA hat here in Delaware, 2 miles from Joe Biden's house, and many said, cool hat, great hat. Wow, never happened before. Never. Suddenly it's cool. Wow. Killer. Awesome. $5. Recontact Smith-Mundt Act Amendment. Yes, indeed. $5. RPRN. Michigan Secretary of State Benson threatened to prosecute any election clerk who questions the election results and tells us they're going to call the election for common law. That tells us, yeah. Right. I don't even know what to say. It's just
do a Zoom
so
call
horrifying.
I'm pretty sure they just did a Zoom call with like all the swing states, Benson, and all the other secretaries of states about how they're protecting the election result shit. I don't know.
Amazing. $20. L. Phillips, still on night shift. So nice to listen live. Thanks, gents, for such hot takes. And is it me, or does Scarborough wear those gag glasses you could get from the back of Mad magazines? I know what is up with the way he's presenting himself on camera. Is it possible, just throwing this out there, that patriots are in control of hair and makeup?
It's amazing how many Rachel Maddows are on television right now.
No,
it's Scarborough, Maddow, Chris Hayes, Keith Olbermann. Who else we have? Mark Cuban, Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
John, speaking of all those, go ahead with this.
I'll play this clip quick.
In Michigan, leading the way in a lot of these efforts to ensure that democracy continues to exist, that every vote is heard and counted at the ballot. But you're not just helping Michigan. You're part of a group of secretaries of state that are really working on this around the country. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, one of the things we saw in 2020 was that, particularly in battleground states, we were all battling a common adversary, a really nationally coordinated effort to undermine the will of the people, both before, during, and after Election Day. And we learned to semi-coordinate with each other in 20. You know, Katie Hobbs and I was Secretary of Arizona at the time. She and I are friends. We would talk regularly. But there was really no way for us to consistently as a team, the 6 of us in those 6 battleground states, which Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia, to constantly both compare notes and also say, okay, how are we going to respond to this nationally coordinated effort with a coordinated response? And so that's now we have that. We actually spent 2022 working to build that team in these 6 states. You've got strong voices now in Arizona and Nevada and Georgia, Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and in Michigan. And we're all talking, we're all working together, and we're all very clear-eyed about what we're up against. Because the battle over the future of our democracy isn't going to be in the post-election process only. It starts now. And it starts with how various court battles are playing out. And you'll see all of us getting hit with the same types of sham lawsuits that are lawsuits, or PR campaigns masquerading as lawsuits. So as we work together, as we talk to each other, we can develop common strategies and be much more powerful, united as a team, even across party lines, than we would be if we were just fighting these battles in our respective states by ourselves.
John is you're muted, John.
You're muted, John.
Sorry. I said that's like they're blatantly admitting they're coordinating to steal the fucking election. I mean,
yeah.
I like how she admitted that these lawsuits can be used as PR campaigns, as if that's not what they've been doing forever. Did you see what? By the way, did you see what the Democrat governors did? John, look at this. It's real quick.
Oh, sorry.
To say. Democratic governors get shit done.
No.
How embarrassing is that?
Do that one more time. Play it one more time.
I have one thing to say. Democratic governors get shit done.
Wow.
Who is the person on stage saying, I have one thing to say?
It looked like Gretchen Whitmer, but maybe it was a comedian or something. I don't know what that. All I care about is the part on the bus. I don't know what that was.
That person's voice sounded exactly like the person in James Alefantis's pizza parlor bragging about how Jared from Subway had different predilections and was wearing a mask. Anyway, just that Comet Ping Pong. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
Right. Let's keep on moving on. $5, Miss DJ Liberty. Any commentary on Trump wearing a black coat, gold tie, and dark MAGA hat as the Undertaker music played when he entered the rally after the Joe Rogan interview, also 10 days before election? No commentary until now because, wow, did not think of that. I've got the dark MAGA meme right here, and it's gorgeous. I've got the picture.
Certainly interesting.
Yep, I'm downloading the picture, and it's amazing. And I'm going to post it right here in a second. Just let's see, overlay, and there it is. Oh, never mind. I have to get rid of some photos. Sorry. Okay. All right, there we go. This is what he looks like.
Oh, it's so cool.
I know, right? I don't know what to say about it other than the fact that it's badass and it's 10 days before the election, 10 days of darkness. Q drop number 88 of November 5th, 2017.
That's an interesting connection.
No.
Dark MAGA. Darkness. I like that.
Good grief. We're gonna like how this movie ends. I just know it. I'm nervous though.
Don't sound confident.
$2, Susie Q 2021. Much to be gleaned from word searches re Amazon and WAPO in drops. QAG.news. Okay, Amazon and WAPO in drops. I'll check it out if I remember. I hope I remember. Hey, all of you, remember that. That's like a really good thing to research. $1, the real JJ14 hat tip Colonel Towner, and there is a tweet in there. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you guys are being very generous with the super chats today. Thank you so much. $5. It's Tony, man. If you have 75% of the registered voters accounted for before the election, there's no way to mathematically assert enough ballots to cover, in my opinion. It depends on how close it is in that 75%. So what you have to do is you have to figure out what the gap is, and then you have to figure out how many votes are left. So let's suppose, I'm not going to do the math. That'll take too long and it'll annoy everybody. But you can just work a simple algebra equation. Given how much has come in, you can immediately compute exactly what the breakdown needs to be for the existing gap to be completely erased. I hope that makes sense. $1, Keith O'Higgins. Was Trump forced to use the word skullduggery because Biden has trademarked the word malarkey and Camelot has embraced shenanigans guns full-throated? That may be it, Keith O'Higgins. It is worth looking into why the hell he would use the word skullduggery. It's just it's a weird word, you know? It'd be like me calling somebody a snollygoster. It's kind of...
Well, is that a real thing?
Snollygoster?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So is skullduggery.
Well, I know skullduggery is. I've heard of that one. I haven't heard of Schollynoster?
Snollygoster is just it's just a weird word meaning schmuck.
The skullduggery thing, I think maybe we talked about this when he was first releasing these same tweets. So that's the third time he's put that cease and desist tweet up, or Truth Social post, I mean. Michael Isikoff, the reporter who was like at the vanguard of the Steele dossier for Yahoo News back then, hosted a podcast called Skullduggery. So
The fourth time. The fourth time he's used that cease and desist skullduggery.
Right, who was the one with the skullduggery podcast?
Michael Isikoff.
Okay. Michael Isikoff is the originator of the dossier. He was the first one to report on it. Okay. Tucked right away into the memory banks. $17. Truth Teller 86. Rainfall is legit. I'm glad John thinks I looked good before in a non-gay way. The Mr. Leota, aka them. $5. Thank you so much, Truth Teller 86.
So, Chris, are you saying that could be a subtle, like, don't try any more Russian bullshit stuff?
I think that there's probably a lot of things that people read in these posts that we don't have, the insight to see as critical. Skullduggery is a strange word. It's a pretty direct connection to something relevant. Look, check this out. I mean, this is here's Isikoff's podcast. This is just on Apple Podcasts. Pop that in there. There it is. His last episode was 12/23/22. Skullduggery's January 6th farewell with Jamie Raskin and Michael Luddig. So Luddig was one of the attorneys that wrote
what was the date on that?
12/23/22. Luddig was one of the attorneys who wrote one of those memos or pieces about how Donald Trump should be disqualified under the 14th Amendment. So
interesting.
All right. $15, 1027 JS. My birthday is tomorrow. Do I get to celebrate it until Chris's birthday on 11/1 per the Badlands theory of birthdays?
Chris, your birthday's 11/1?
It is indeed.
How did that information get leaked?
I don't know.
She must have remembered from last year.
I think maybe I said it on Daily like a couple weeks ago or something.
Okay.
My birthday is March 31st, if anybody wants to remember it.
My son, never mind, I'm not gonna say that. Happy birthday, Joe. Tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Joe. Absolutely.
You do get to celebrate. That's according to Burning Bright's theory of birthdays, that you get to celebrate for the whole month or until the next one takes place, I believe. But somebody remind me to wish Chris a happy birthday on 11/1. Somebody remind me. I'm gonna write it down, but just in case I forget.
Next. $2, Keith O'Higgins. All these attacks on Alex Jones mean the gay frogs win. Watch the rear invasion from Quebec, guys. Will do. Thank you. $5, another 179. True story. May 2016. Trump and a friend of my family and a good acquaintance of mine are in a limo traveling approximately 100 feet to my right while I'm at a dog park in South Bend. April 2017, I'm at the same dog park, standing in the same place. Mayor Pete and Zuckerberg are on the sidewalk to my left, walking toward me. Pete acknowledges me. Zuckerberg sees Pete look at me and looks at me too. I look away.
What?
Quite the story.
It's like a novel.
I know. It's good stuff.
Gripping.
$10, Seabruns. Thank you all. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is a nice little run of super chats, guys. Thank you so much. $2, Keith O'Higgins. Cernovich is a power top.
It's pronounced Cernovich.
Cernovich is a power top. $2. Keith O'Higgins. Elon is a prince of a guy, a Russian Eric Prince of a guy, a red phone call away from Vlad. Yes.
Ooh, Eric Prince would be a good one to get on our election coverage. I'm gonna get in touch with him.
$10. Pilot Bryce. I'll preface these with sarcasm, vulgar, dry humor. Teg, $10. Teg. Is that making fun of you, John?
Likely.
Okay. Hey, Teg. $10 for John being a super competitive bitch of a boss who can't say tag, eh? That's Pilot Bryce. Teg. And no, it's not, he doesn't say Teg. He says Tag. Am I right? Okay. Anyway.
Yep, you're right. But thanks for the $10, bro. I'm looking forward to your Rumble show where you show me the correct pronunciation of tag. You motherfucker.
It's a little vengeance for you fucking with me about my Australian accent or lack thereof. $20, Pilot Bryce. $20 for Patrick shaving his head and being so emo that he makes us all cry, but his tears interact with his products perfectly. Obvious scam. Thank you so much.
Patrick, you know what?
What?
We forgot to Jenna Ellis for likes.
We forgot to freaking sex work. Guys, you got to help us out. Okay, so I have failed in all of my duties. So I just want you to know that in exchange for you pressing the like button, I will get Jenna Ellis to come to your house and have sex with you. So
that's not true. None of that is.
Hit that like, and she will be right there. Jeba in the nicest spandex that she can afford on her deep state salary. Please hit the like. Thank you very much. This has been a Jenna Ellis servicing you announcement.
I'm like, honestly though, guys, your likes have been great because on Saturday, like I keep saying, it's the #1 Saturday show on Rumble. I'm pretty sure that's true. I got to go back and look, but we've been #1 over 50% of the year on Saturdays. I'm almost positive. There's a couple that have like a couple Trump rallies sneak through, a couple X-22 interviews, every now and then a Phil Godlewski with his fake numbers, but for the majority of
numbers
it's because
fake?
of you guys.
Fake
I don't
likes
know.
too. He can smurf likes.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe there are that many people who actually legitimately watch Phil Godlewski. And if so, we have bigger problems than we realize. But
I think
that's not
we
the point.
may have bigger problems than we realize in a lot of cases.
Thank you so
I
much.
think there are a lot of people who just glom onto him.
But I just want to say thanks. It's because of you guys.
Yeah,
that I
thank
can
you
keep saying
very
that.
much. Yes, thank you. $30, Pilot Bryce. $30 for Chris making me come to a guard for him to talk to me, being shit hammered at 6 a.m. and trying to get him to call me hasn't worked out. Pilot Bryce, you are on a roll, my friend. $40. Pilot Bryce. $40 for Billy Eichner freaking the fuck out. I love his show. Couldn't care less about his politics. Dance for me, you peasant clown. Jester, bro, you are. Thank you very much for the super chats. Okay, we're not even done yet. $50. Pilot Bryce. $50. John, the Beamish Badlands sign behind you looks like an Ohio State sign. Fuck you, or fix it. Only people who like OSU are OSU fans. Boiler up. Dude, you're on freaking fire. $5. Pilot Bryce.
Hold on.
Patrick,
He's
your
a
barber-
Purdue fan. He's a
I don't know
Purdue
what
fan.
Purdue-
I mean, which I will always go for Purdue against Ohio State. Pretty much anybody in that conference except maybe Minnesota. I do have another Beamish sign I could put up there, but that's like the OG. I have to use it, so I apologize. It definitely says Badlands, not Ohio State, so calm down. But if you have a rebuttal, another $50 wouldn't hurt. I'd love to hear it.
Dude,
Thank
can
you.
Freaking abuse us all day. $5. Pilot Bryce. Patrick, your barber sucks. Come on, pay more than $5 to insult me. John, your barber is primo. Ooh, Chris, sweet hat. Black and gold all day, brah. Boilers. What are the Boilers, by the way?
The Purdue Boilermakers.
Okay, whatever. Is that like sports ball?
Sports ball.
Okay.
And just like education generally. Yep.
By the way, guys, this hat is actually, I guess you can't see it, but it's like dark navy blue. So I'm not sure if this is the same hat Trump was wearing last night or not. This is from the official like Trump hat central. But
is that the
and it's
website?
No, it's like the official WinRed Trump store, whatever.
Oh, I got an email the other day that I have some new Trump sneakers coming. I don't remember when I ordered them because there's like a 6-month lag, but I'm excited to see which ones I got. I can't remember. Let's see if I can find that email.
$2, Keith O'Higgins. If Trump loses, the government becomes a nanny state, and that only benefits the Doug Emhoff types. Damn.
Oh,
Ah.
the nanny, Doug and the nanny.
Nice. $2 wedged gravy. John, are there rolls blocked off at the embassy suites at Myrtle Beach?
Are there what?
Rolls-Royces? Like Rolls Royces? I don't think it's that fancy of a hotel because like Rolls Royces are only at 5-star hotels, and
No,
five-star
we haven't blocked
hotels
it.
are
Are there
unusual.
rolls blocked off?
I don't know what that means.
Are there
Like,
rooms? I bet you meant to say rooms. Or
rooms? Okay.
There were, which sold out like 5 months ago, but there's lots of hotels in the area.
Totally. Like I'm going to get an Airbnb.
You haven't got
$2.
it yet? You're
No.
going to get? Okay.
Yeah, I'll get it. It's okay. I'll figure it out.
Total
$2. Emerald Dragon 1333. Eye of the Storm mentioned a security test being done on 11/5 that should be fun. P.S. You're all awesome. Can't wait till Badlands is the new trustworthy media of the country. Guys, I have a good feeling about November 5th. I think it's going to increase our reach, and it's going to increase the reach of all of you OG Badlanders. I get that feeling.
Guys, privately, Patrick has not said one good thing about November. He's panicking about November 5th. So that was a lie.
It's got me the freaking heebie-jeebies. But I've been listening to you, John, just now, today, right? And this whole idea of they're telling us how they're going to cheat. Seth Keshel writes a column on how they're going to cheat this time. They're going to have to do it in person on election day. Won't that be hilarious? If there's a steal that's clownish and it gets foiled, it's gonna get close to being the after times, as Chris calls it. And the after times are good times.
Mm-hmm.
So it could happen.
Could get real fun real quick.
It could. 5, if we freaking already have the election taken care of, I will freaking strip down to my freaking bathing suit and get into that water at Myrtle Beach, and it might be 60 degrees. So
Second time you've referenced taking clothes off at Myrtle Beach. So
no. Chris Paul. Oh yeah, you're right. Well, good point. $5. Another 179. Chris, maybe Trump meant he doesn't need to influence anyone else to vote for him because so many of us are already on his side and will vote for him. Maybe. I don't remember him saying that.
What, that we don't need any more votes?
I don't know.
I can go ahead and find it if you want, but
$5. Best Nani ever. Got my virtual ticket. Chris streaking would be bonus. Respect. $2 wedge gravy. Imagine what the 2026 Congress can do. Depends on if they're all a bunch of deep state schmucks. Oh, the 2026 Congress, because we'll have fair elections. Oh my God. Could you imagine the primary season for 2026 if all of a sudden the deep state doesn't get to pick everybody?
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the fight they're going to put up, though, between 2024 and 2026 to not lose that fraudulent system if it isn't fixed by then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if they don't fix it before January 6th, Jamie Raskin already told us that they're going to use that day to remove Trump from being president. So,
yep,
got to be resolved before then, too.
Mm-hmm.
$5. Pilot Bryce. Good to see you again, sir. Trump's last 2 days of the 2020 election, he did 5 rallies each day. Unbelievable. I have debated not voting like G Money. I'm in Arizona. I'm voting early solely because they are telling us to.
I bet Patrick.
I'm so glad that you decided to not take that advice.
I bet Patrick is going to vote now early just because G Money said not to.
I'm voting early because I felt like it, and I had no idea what G Money's advice was on any topic ever. $17. Hugh Mann, 17. I put up Trump Vance signs in September. Since then, my neighbors won't talk to me, and I was uninvited from the annual neighborhood Halloween party. I have never ever been happier. Where we go one, we go all.
Neighbors are gay, but okay.
Neighbors are, dude. Where the hell is that? Where is that? That you put up Trump Vance signs and then the neighbors all invite you from their neighborhood Halloween party.
Must have been Washington, D.C. or something.
Right? There are are there areas like that where they ostracize Trump supporters anymore? All right. $5. The meerkat. Patrick's hand keeps disappearing. He must be AI. No. What actually happened to the meerkat is that I want to allow my wife to be able to walk in and out of the bedroom door because it's in the frame. So I blurred the background using StreamYard. It's really, and it kind of blurred the butthole mirror too. So that I got that going for me, which is nice.
It's a plus.
Yep.
This is one of the videos of Trump talking about having all the votes we need. He's done this multiple times. Oh, sorry.
They did 4 years ago. This is cheating on elections. Today I saw in Washington, D.C., there's a lockbox. It looks nice, except there's a problem. The door is open on the bottom, the big door. It's totally open. They're taking pictures of it. This is a whole big scam. They have lock boxes all over the place. It's a whole big scam, hundreds of millions of dollars going in. And that's what we have to be careful of because we have all the votes we need. We have all the, you don't have that problem in North Dakota like we have. But I tell you what, we have all the votes we need. And I'm counting on the chairman and Tom and everybody to make sure that just give us an honest count. We're going to turn the state for the first time since 1950.
I mean, take it how you want to take it. He's talked about this a number of times. So
he said we don't have problems in North Dakota, and I think that was a direct reference to me.
He's in Minnesota right now. Oh yeah, that part was a direct reference to you for sure.
Yep, 100%. I agree. Okay, that's all I need to hear.
We also have $10. Jay Gonzalez, 1123. John, don't forget to wish Chris Paul happy birthday on November 1st. He is one of the brightest minds. I also have a November birthday, the 23rd, shared with my youngest son. Isn't it a pisser to have the same birthday as your own kid? I wouldn't know for sure, but
that's cute. But I can't remember anything for less than $25. So thank you for the rant. But
$5. Rick Lowe, 100. I joined senior dating service. It's called Carbon Dating. Is that true? Because if that's true, that's really funny.
That would be a funny name for a dating website.
$5. Pilot Bryce. Thank you for getting it, John. Calling me a mofo is exactly the type of humor I possess, and we all need to embrace. Retard, fag, mofo. Gotta let it all fly and reverse brainwash the population. That's right, fucker. Okay, so anyway. $5. IB Fish. John, this is your reminder to wish Chris a happy birthday on 11/01 minus 17 days later. This is great. Thank you.
I appreciate these reminders, but also remind me closer to his birthday. That would also be
I will
appreciated.
totally remind you, John.
Okay.
$2. Keith O'Higgins. Sex with Jenna Ellis. Do I need to supply the peanut butter? Because she's a dog. Get it? Okay. So anyway, awesome. I love it. $20. Jay Gonzalez, 1123. Hit the fucking like and go sub to Chris Paul's Substack. Called it's I'm your moderator.substack.com. Yeah. Really, some of the only content I consume. I consume it at 2x. And when you consume it at 2 times normal speed, he actually sounds a little bit like Ben Shapiro.
Who doesn't?
I think that's true. Yeah.
Who doesn't?
You can only find out if you sub. So do it.
It's funny. Like we were listening to Joe Rogan Trump last night on 1.35 speed, and people were pissed off. But I literally consume anything I listen to. I listen to at 2x speed. There's just like not enough time in the day.
Yeah. I have no choice.
Yeah.
By the way, Scott Adams talks so fucking slow that 2x sounds like a normal person.
Yeah.
$5, Ms. DJ Liberty. Yeah.
I was gonna say I tried getting him on election day coverage, and he said he didn't want to commit to anything that day, which is lame.
I know he's fancy as fuck. $5, Miss DJ Liberty. Not only was Trump dressed as Dark MAGA, but played the Undertaker music. See if you can find a video. Very ominous. Message to the deep state. I think about how many comms we could get if we really, really worked hard to understand professional wrestling.
Yeah. I think that's all the rants, though.
Thank you so much, everybody. Very generous.
Very generous. Hit that thumbs up. We appreciate that. Get your virtual or in-person guard tickets. There's still some available. Get your merch. badlandsmedia.tv/rise. I think that's all I got.
Great show, guys. Get us on the leaderboard. Number 1. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you next week.
Witness the motion picture event that is being called fucking amazeballs.
Do you see the difference in the M there?
It's go time. 25 later on my.
You got a seriously weird ass way of looking at shit.
If you look at the waviness of the little flag that comes out of the R is wavy. The one in the first hump in the M is not wavy. It's just a pure arc. Does that make sense?
We want to warn our viewers that these are extremely graphic images.
Give me a second, dude. This is more autistic than I've ever been before.